We're going to get started. And so I'm going to let everybody else in. So we got all the members of the board. So I'm going to start tonight's Town of Andover Board of Selectmen regular meeting for Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 7:02 p.m. And the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And our first, number 2 on our agenda is public speak. So I will sit there and go around. First is Liz Lokech. Okay, we'll come back to you, Liz. Louise Goodwin.
I'm all set, Jeff. Thank you.
Yep. Valerie Bruno.
All set, thank you.
Joanne Hebert.
All set, here to listen. Thank you.
Okay. Bill Penn.
Just listening. Thank you.
Kimberly Person.
All set. Thank you.
Tess Grouse.
All set, sir. Thank you.
Leanne Hutchinson.
I am also all set.
Okay. Did I miss any of the other members of the public? Liz Lokech. I thought I'd give you that.
Thanks. Yep, I'm all set too. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. All right, so we're good. So we're going to move on to item 3, additions and changes to the agenda.
I have one or two things. One is, can we move the discussion and possible action on the town administrator up to the beginning? And also the, if we have the executive session, move that near the beginning. And the other thing is 8F, the discussion and possible action on the AES RFP. I think it should just be discussion and update because we can't make any decisions on that. We don't have the authority.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, so I'll second that motion. We'll move item 16 up to let's do that right away so we can put everybody out into the hold. So we'll move that up to 3A. One second. So move to 3A, executive session for discussion and possible action on town administrator position, personnel matter. And we will adjust 8F to discussion and eliminate and possible action. Yes. Okay. Anyone else? Anything further? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All 5 of us? 5-0. Scott, you good? Okay. Having trouble hearing you again, Scott. Then Jeff, you were good because you were hiding under that. Okay. All right. So everybody on the meeting, I'm going to put you guys all in a waiting room. And when we're done with our executive session, we'll bring you all back so that we can also discuss that issue. Let's make sure of one thing. Yeah, it's under item 9. We can wait for it, but yes, we'll discuss it under 9.
And that, so members are Board of Selectmen and Town Attorney.
Is the town attorney with us?
Yes, he is. believe so.
Okay. All right.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So everyone, I'm going to sit there and put you all in the waiting room for a bit. Okay. I apologize. We're coming out of executive session at 7:47, and we are taking no action at this point in time. So we're going to move on to item 4, board and commission presentations. I don't see
You
any.
start the recording?
I did.
Did you
Anna.
start recording it?
I did. Yes. Ready? Hold on.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, we good? All right. We'll have 2 little breaks there. Okay, so there are no board and commission presentations. Item 5, appointments. We have no appointments. Item 6, resignations. I don't have any resignations at this meeting. Item 7, town administrators report. We don't have town administrators report, so we're just going to go through the old business. Let's see. Is there anything of significance? The access to the majority of the treasurer's accounts has been activated. So we're in a much better position there. And we have some other issues that we have to address. But let's go through old business. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free. Item 8 is old business. Review the status of the veteran field improvement. We have a payment due to Millennium Builders for the playground equipment. That check will be going out this week. Since we have access to the STIF account and to the M&T accounts, it will be processed. And that, speaking with Christine Randazzo this week, she believes that the project will get started early in April. We've also received the grant, the legislative grant funding has been approved, and we're waiting for our official first tranche of that money to deal with that field. So hopefully that will all get situated and get started as early as possible and get completed as soon as possible. Item 8B, review senior transportation garage status. That one, and Jeff, I don't know if you have any information on that or if you've spoken to that group related to that. I know that we should probably present that one to our project review committee to get the best possible outcome for that garage. So we'll sit there and deal with that. Status of the Long Hill Bridge project. We've had multiple communications from the state. The last I knew, the state was down to trying to pick their candidate. I will sit there and send out an email to the board letting them know which candidate they selected out of the low bidders. So there were 2 bids that were under $4 million for that bridge. And I'm pretty sure that the engineering firm representing the state had looked at their proposals and was getting ready to select that group. Scott, have you heard anything related to the telephone poles, the electrical pole movement down there for the Long Hill Bridge? Okay.
Nothing yet.
That is what we probably have to get started with. Item 8D, status, and please interrupt if you have any questions. The status of the Percy Cook Trail. I know that we've gotten a design and we have communication going on with that engineering firm to get the finalized the finalized plans on that. And then we have to go back to the state and apply for that grant if we choose to move forward with that trail. So that one, we'll sit there and go at it. 8D, the status of the animal control services. NECOG, who has performed our animal control services, is sitting there and trying to get out of the business of doing that. And what they decided to do was to increase fees. And I'll ask the treasurer, what were the fees last year compared to this year for that? Do you have that available for us?
Let me just take a look. Yeah. Hold on.
And I talked to Hebron and they said that they couldn't do that. They're in the middle of they're changing around their public works
building. I knew they were trying to build
Right. And
their animal
so
control
the
facilities.
one that they have right now still needs $20,000 or $25,000 worth of work, and they don't want to put that money in if they're just going to be building a new building down on Old Colchester Road.
I will tell you one other thing that we have to get on top of, and I have to get on top of. There was a bill that came through to the town from I think it was Hage and Sauer, our attorney Brantz works for them, and NECOG contacted them about an animal cruelty situation that has gone to court, and we have been getting bills from the law firm for that. And I called the law firm, and I spoke to the attorney that was running the program, and I'm like, you cannot continue to bill us hours without us having communication as to what you're billing for and what we're doing. And we might have to sit there and get together and go see that resident to sit there and see if we can get some resolution to that. But we've had probably, I'd say, close to $10,000 worth of legal bills that have come related to this animal control issue that we have to address. And we can't have, as I told Attorney Brantz, you have to communicate with us because you can't just bill hours. And they're working through NECOG. So I have a call into NECOG as well. So that's going to be a problem. I'm just letting you know there's some additional costs that have been pushed onto the town related to that animal control issue.
I'm looking for it, Jeff. I'm looking.
Yeah. I was just, I forgot the number. It's
4215. Okay.
I'm just looking for what last year's budgeted amount was.
Yeah, this year is, 12,940. That's for 25-26.
Yeah.
And then
I think it was $19,000.
that they asked for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
All right. So it's a $7,000 animal control services increase. So we have that to deal with. Item 8F, discussion on the AES RFP for bathroom renovations.
So we got some good news there. The RFP is on our town website, and the school's website is currently open. So finally that job's moving ahead. And just a big shout out to Eric Sanderson, who volunteered his time to help us write that RFP. He was a huge help, and he deserves a big thank you from the town.
I agree, and let's hope it goes smoothly and we can sit there and get appropriate financial costs on that project. So that would be good. All right, anybody else related to that item? Okay, item 8F, not F, G, discussion and possible action on the Hop River Home contract. Does anyone want to have that at this meeting? I know we have to get it done, and we have to get it done before the tax bills go out, and we have to talk to them. And so make sure that we understand what, it's a lot of money for the town, and we're not really using the field that we thought we were going to use. So, but I would push this off to next meeting unless anyone else has a problem with it. Okay. Item 8H, review and possible action on the project review committee applicants. So we did get multiple applicants, Ken Romeo, Adrian Mandeville, Ed Cerisley, Nicholas Lukowski, Robert Roy, Scott Legassi, and Tara Goldberg. I also asked Eric Sanderson, and I know he doesn't live in town, but he has a family in town. When he came into the town offices, I asked him to sign up for this. I think this board or this group should be as many participants as we want it, as will actively volunteer on behalf of the town to make sure that we get the best possible use of our money on these projects. So I have no problem with the people that have sat there and volunteered for this and appointing them all to the board.
Yeah, and Eric Sanders said he would sit in on meetings if he was requested. So I already spoke to him about that as well.
Okay.
So we really don't have to appoint him because he's really not a resident.
Yeah. No
He
problem.
will participate as needed.
Okay. And then the question ends up being, do we need to appoint any of these people? Well, I guess I'd actually feel better about appointing them because we need as many volunteers as we can get in this town. And I think it's good that they've stepped up, and I think we should appoint them to this review committee and get started because, we should sit there and give them the transportation garage, and we should give them the information we have there, and we should give them the RFP for the bathrooms and sit there. And if anybody has any ideas of what to do, I think it would be all positive.
So I think you make a motion with the names and with the term ending, like how long do we want to make the term for? Same as the other commissions, just renew them all at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, we'll run it to the end of the year and then renew it at the end of the year. I mean, I think some of those boards have 2 years and some of them have 1 year. I think it should just be 1 year, and we should continue. I mean, honestly, Jeff, I would just keep adding people if they came with qualifications, or if you found somebody that had skills and you wanted to sit there and bring them in, I'd just keep adding to this. I just think it's great that they're willing to volunteer their time with their expertise that they have. And if they prove that they're not going to participate, then the next year we just don't appoint them they're not named on the committee. So,
correct.
Right. So I'll make a motion that we appoint to the project review committee Kenneth Romeo, Adrian Mandeville, Ed Cerisley, Nicholas Olakowski, Robert Roy, Scott Legassi, and Tara Goldberg.
Second that.
With a term.
Sorry, for a term to end. Today is March.
How about 12/31/2027?
Okay. For a term to end 12/31/2027.
Seconded.
Okay. Seconded. Further discussion on that? All right, we'll go through the vote. Ann, how do you vote? Ann votes yes. Carol Lee?
Aye.
Jeff Murray?
Aye.
Scott Person? Jeff McGuire. So 5-0 on that. Item 8, bank account signers. Currently on our M&T operating account, there's only 2 signers that remain employed by the town. Well, I shouldn't say employed, named employed or elected. Valerie Bruno is one of the signers, and I shouldn't say that because I am not sure if can you give me guys a second and give me 1 second? I apologize. I'm so sorry. Had to deal with something related to the town. Bank signers. I have to verify this, but the only 2 bank signers that I know on the operating account are myself and Valerie Bruno. Valerie has stated that she would rather not sign checks because of I know she called it a lack of fidelity. I don't understand that word used in this term, but that's okay. So she would not like to sign checks, and I am the only check signer right now. It requires 2 signers. I will also be leaving on a family vacation starting tomorrow. So I didn't want to sit there and leave the town with no signers on checks for that 10-day period. I had requested, and I let the board know that I wanted to sit there and have Roberta Doherty, the town clerk, Scott Person, who has time and gets into the office, and Jeff Murray to be added as signers, even if it's for a short-term basis. I did get that submitted to M&T today. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but it's a short-term solution until we can sit there and move forward. But I am letting everybody know those are the bank signer issues. Yep, Carol?
trying the Rob England, since he is the chair of the Board of Finance. That seemed like he'd be a good person.
And Liz Lochek.
And Liz Lochek, yeah.
Yeah,
Those two people.
we can, and if we sit there and circled all the way back in the end, when we decide who we want to actually have as signers moving forward, whether the new administrator and when the new administrator is positioned, we'll sit there and do it. All of these people are going to come off because right now I just was looking for a short-term solution, to be really honest. Short term. Just in case. And Lisa will tell you, I've told Lisa no checks. So, and listen, when I say no checks, please understand, we pay our bills so early, it's not funny. We are not like any organization that waits 30 days. For the most part, transactions come in and transactions go out fairly quickly. So there will be certain situations where we don't sit there and process a check, or a check may be held because someone like myself is looking at the details and going, I don't really think that that's appropriate. But for the most part, no one is really waiting for the town other than the Millennium Builders, which Scott keeps asking me about, and Christine Rendazzo keeps asking me about, related to the playground equipment. And the only reason that that was even held at all was because we needed to make sure that we understood where we were from our financial position. So, anybody have any questions related to the bank signers? Okay. Item 9, new business, discuss and act upon the following, the 2026-2027 budget discussion. Lisa, do you want to put up, maybe I can put up, 1 second. I can't do that.
I sent it to you today, this afternoon.
But I'm on a different computer.
Oh,
Let me do one thing. Oh, and no, let me do one thing. So you sent there and sent this to me.
mhm.
Okay. So I'm sorry, give me 1 second. There you go. So does everybody see this on their screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put up a little bit, Jeff?
What do you want me to do?
Blow it up a little bit.
Sure. Give me 1 second. And Scott, I'm just going to try to zoom. So if you give me a second, I'll figure it out. See, I'm sitting there operating on a Mac. What am I doing?
Like a right click.
Yeah, I know. It's a different type of thing. I do not know how to zoom this up.
I can see it fine.
I can see it.
That's exit. That's full screen.
Can you do Control Plus?
See, oh, let's sit there and see if you work. No. Give me 1 second. I'll sit there and see if
If you open with, it won't get larger. Up top where it says open with.
Or click the green button.
Yeah, if that's all you could do, it's fine. I can see it. I just moved it closer to me. That's good.
okay, I went to try to get help and she's going to sit there and Google how to zoom. So we're just going to go through this. So, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. So here's where we are. We have 3 tabs on our preliminary budget. We have our preliminary budget, our budget condensed, and our preliminary budget for the salaries. So, what do you got?
Is there an option?
All right. I'm sorry. I'm technologically not advanced on the Mac side of the world. So, Elisa, if you want to walk us through this, you tell me where you want to go and I'll get them to it.
All right. Well, it hasn't changed a whole lot since we did the joint meeting with Board of Finance, just so everybody knows. This is the one pretty much the same. The revenues I estimated from last year, because I didn't know if, you wanted to change direction. The only one that is verified is a little more is the MRSA, line 23, account number 43800. I have had verification on that. The others are just estimated from last year, unless you want me to change them.
Are we on course to reach all of our revenue numbers?
Let me go into QuickBooks right now.
I mean, nothing looks off from where we're at.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, hold on. Where'd my report go? Here it is. No, it looks like this was as of the end of February. Your tax revenue was like 76%. Your government revenues were about right. Miscellaneous is a little low, but you never know with miscellaneous. Your clerk fees are up a little bit. They're actually 28,000 over what was budgeted. And your investment interest, you can't tell right now. I don't. It looks like this is about right when I looked at it the other day with the 2 accounts we get interest on. But with everything going on, I don't know if that's where it'll be at.
Can I just ask, do the clerk fees include transfer station stickers?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 20-something thousand? So, okay. I just wanted to ask just to get that clarified, because it's not really recording fees and that, it's just
Yeah, that is something that where it got posted, Carol, is a problem.
Yeah, because I used to, when I gave the spreadsheet, it was always separate from clerk fees.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you were there when these got posted. So the next round will be done. It's just what the treasurer's office did. So can everybody see this better?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I finally figured it out what I did wrong. Apologize. All right. So really from our situation, like we have a budget for last year of 12.7 million and we've currently collected 6.6 million. So we have 2 more rounds of property taxes, and we have certain things like the ECS money that hasn't sat there and hit equally. So like you could sit here and look at this. This is all we've collected so far on the ECS dollars. Is that still accurate, Lisa?
I'm looking right now. I'm sorry, this computer, my laptop I have, and it's great, but it kicks me out if I don't stay active in it. It kicks me out, so I have to go back in on the remote, and it takes me a second.
Okay. Another technical thing that we need to fix that we'll get to. Right?
Yeah. So what did you need then? I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if the ECS funding, since we're on, if there's been any adjustment in that in the month of February or March.
Yeah, because what have you got in there right now? You've got
501 was the number at the end of January.
no. Now you've got 1,200,390. Is that what
Okay.
you're asking? Yeah.
Yep. So we got the second tranche of that
Yep.
to sit there and keep us going.
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone, Carol, besides that issue that you addressed related to where, like the clerk fees, because I had noticed that as well, the clerk fees were $66,000. What it was, the transfer fees were being posted to that account. That's what I had guessed before, that's what was occurring. So other than that, does anybody have any other issues with revenue? Okay, so I do know that the assessor did post the grand list, and I believe, Lisa, that there was about a $90,000 increase. Is that
Yeah, it went to 319, 777, 200 is what it went to.
okay?
Yep.
And on his letter, he actually stated the increase amount.
Yep, 99,117 in tax revenue. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll want to make that adjustment.
Yep.
As you provide this to the Board of Finance. Okay. All right, so the town administrator, we had budgeted 105,000, and then we were all of those all of the salary accounts on the town side, the non-employee, non-union side, were given a 3% increase. Anybody have any issues with that 3% for all non-union employees? Okay. So if you take our payroll from the town side, and that's what I had been trying to work on, was and I will get it to everyone here, is the total cost of employee salaries, employee benefits, and retirement contributions account for about 60% of our total spend in the town. So once I can get all of those numbers broken down for you, the number that we're talking about, the 3% increase, is really the critical piece of this. Anybody have a problem with that? Do we want to make a motion to that, to approve that? Do you want to reduce any of the lines, or do you just want to keep going through the list, the segments of this budget? I'm just asking for anybody's opinion as to what they would like to do. Because this is the first line you'll see it on, is this line of the town administrator. We had given a 3% increase. I personally think for next year, because we don't know what is the number that we think we're going to spend, or we were going to want to hire the new administrator at. I just had a conversation at $100,000.
And I just suggest the majority of the applicants put in 110.
Mm-hmm.
So that seemed to be a popular number with most of them for the salary request. And I guess our range was 92 to 120.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should factor that 110 in.
Well, if that's the case, Carol, then I'd leave the 103 there, and I would deal with, if we have to hire somebody for more money, we sit there and hopefully we can find an applicant before the budget gets finalized.
Okay. And then the other question was the admin assistant. Can we put in a 20-hour-a-week admin assistant at $25 an hour?
Okay, so give me 1 second. So that's $500 a week times 52 weeks gives us $26,000 position for that. And does that come with benefits?
If it's 20 hours, it would have to. If you don't want it to have benefits, we'd have to do 19 hours. But you want to get the town administrator, someone who's going to stay and has enough hours to do what he or she needs them to do.
Okay.
Just manager there that never has been used. Can we combine that with the
Well, we will, but
admin assistant?
that's true. We can sit there and accommodate those dollars. The project manager is going to be used during this spring season with the field. So Christine Randazzo has been
Sports
managing
in the
that.
playground.
Yeah. But Ann is correct. Do we need to carry that over for the following year?
I think so.
I think
It
it
should go together.
makes more sense to put it into an admin assistant. So, Lisa, why? And I'll sit there and make a motion to the board that we put a $30,000 line item in for on the town administrator admin assistant, and we eliminate the project manager for next year.
Okay.
Can we just do that, or do you guys want to take motions on all these things?
What if we need a project manager for our next project?
Well, we better figure out what our next project is. We need to sit there and put some of this on the new town administrator. So what Eric was doing was he had a multitude of projects coming up. So he looked at the field as one that, we could sit there and sub out a little bit of that work to free him up. But if you're done with the project, Scott, down at the field this year at $15,000, what would be the project for next year? Long Hill Bridge?
I'm not sure, but I know that Eric was overwhelmed with how much work he had, and he had that project manager so he could take care of his projects.
And you can take care of the other items. So right now, if I sit there and think about what the town has undertaken right now, you have the Long Hill Bridge that's got to get dealt with, right? The field, which will hopefully be done this spring, the playground and the pickleball courts. And then you have the project at the old firehouse for the garage. I don't think those two projects are that I would sit there and say we need to have a project manager for those two projects. I think Eric was dealing with two bridges. And well, this is also something this board has to decide. Are we going to push forward within the next cycle? We have to sit there and see what it is, the connector program from the trail up to the school.
Always a project, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. It is.
But Carol is also right that, you know, an admin assistant for the town administrator is a good idea. But I'm not saying taking that out of there, because the next town administrator is going to say the same thing. He's got too many projects going on, or she has too many projects going on.
Can I just ask one more question? Do you expect to expend that 15,000 by June 30? That's in the 25-26 budget?
Yes.
I would say so. That project's going to go through.
And I would tell you why, Carol, because she hasn't billed us yet.
But is it going to be done, the project, or is it going to carry on to July and August? Because in that case, we would still need some type of funding in the 26-27.
Well, listen, I don't care if we sit there and include that project manager there and increase the admin assistant. If that's what I would sit there and say, make the admin assistant a 25.
That would be a better idea, I think. Yeah.
Because if we don't want to under budget for that, and if the project isn't completed by the end of June, then, you know, if only 13,000 is expended, the other 2,000 is going back in the general fund, and we would need something to cover any additional bills after that.
Well, I think it's more a decision on this issue. Do we want to sit there and request from the Board of Finance money for an assistant? And what is that financial commitment level? Is it 25,000? Is it 30,000? And if we can leave the project manager there, I have no problem with that.
I think we should maybe go with the 30,000 and post the job and see what we get.
I would hopefully recommend that we leave. Well, let's just sit there and do it because we're talking the budget. So is $30,000 the amount in the admin assistant, or is it 25,000? Let's ask for 30. So 30,000. Yeah. Okay. So I'll sit there. We'll write these down. So, 5,001 admin. And so what we're going to do is we're going to help Lisa, and we're going to make a motion on all these.
And you're going to leave 15,000 in the project. Okay.
So we're not going to change that.
Okay.
Okay. So, treasurer salary. I'm just going to sit there and suggest that I don't think we understand exactly what the assistant treasurer stipend is for. I would sit there and tell you we need to increase the treasurer's salary to $40,000, and we should zero out the stipend. Anyone?
I'll second that, Jeff.
We should probably know what that assistant treasurer stipend was. Who was it put in there for? What is it for?
What happened last year was the stipend was given because it was felt that she was doing a good job, and rather than raise the salary, because then now it's union contract and it will just keep getting the 3% every year, they felt get the extra 5,000 as a stipend.
Thought it was a good idea so that Christine could be trained in some of the things that Cheryl was doing.
Right.
So then,
and then I
eliminate the stipend.
And it sounds like it didn't happen.
Did not occur.
Did not occur. So, Lisa, you have that?
Yes.
Well,
Yep.
I'll sit there. We haven't voted on any of those. So if so let's go back to the town administrator section just for a second. So I'll make a motion on the town administrator account 4113 to increase line 102-101 admin assistant to $30,000.
Second.
Carol Lee seconded. Right. And because I'm not seeing everybody's face, I'm going to go around. Anne Creme.
Aye.
Carol Lee.
Aye.
Scott, Jeff Murray.
Aye.
Scott Person. I'm assuming you said yes.
He's raising
Yes,
his
yes.
hand.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And then Jeff McGuire. Yes. So that's 5-0. So that one will get into the minutes. And then we're going to move down here to this next section, to the treasurer's section, 4137. I'll make a motion that we increase item 109-100, a treasurer's salary, to $40,000. And we reduce line 109-101 to 0.
Can we vote on them individually
Definitely.
rather than
Sure.
the two together?
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the stipend there.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want to wait and talk about it, or do you want to just vote on one versus
Well,
the other?
if we vote on each one individually, please.
So I'll make a motion to increase in section 4137 treasurer financial line item 109-100 of the treasurer's salary to $40,000.
Second that, Jeff.
Scott Person seconded.
And
Right.
can we just have discussion on that? Is that okay?
Let's go. Yep.
Okay, so just curious. I know Lisa's been in there quite a bit. Do we have a set number of hours? Is this part-time? Is this like 19 hours a week? How many hours?
Well, the hope from my standpoint is that we would get to a baseline. I mean, it's just giving her an appropriate level of money to sit there and get. I don't think you want to ask for any more hours, because if we ask for the hours or we give an hour number, we're in trouble. So, Carol, I think that position with the proper level of oversight is $40,000 is appropriate and probably not enough, but we don't have enough in every issue and everything that we want to do. So
I know, but I'm just asking because I thought that the original job description said 26 hours a month. That's the only reason I'm asking that. I know she's in there.
How about we say 30 hours a month, because she probably put that in on the weekend. Just asking. I'm just saying.
She works that right on the weekends, right?
Yeah. So
Does she not work? I'm just joking.
I mean, and listen, a lot of this, and I keep telling Lisa this, is no stress, and a lot of this is, once it is structured properly, it will get easier. But I think what we've been missing is someone in the office really working to promote good practices and to work with the staff in that department to continuously improve. So if you want to say 30 hours, Carol, I have no problem if you want to ask for additional
I'm just
hours.
asking. I don't want to say how many hours, to dictate per month, because if she's in there 100 hours a month, we're okay with it. No, I'm only kidding.
That will not happen.
I just think it's that position. I think that position deserves that at a
I
minimum.
can see a flat rate would be probably to make it to 40,000, but not specify hours.
Yeah. Okay. So is there any more discussion on that one?
No, I'm good.
All right. Then I'll go around again. Ann Cremay,
Aye.
Carol Lee,
Aye.
Jeff Murray,
Aye.
Scott Person. He said yes. I know he did.
Yeah.
And Jeff McGuire. So 5-0 on that line item. Okay. And so then we had Carol, you want to have additional discussion on the stipend?
I don't know that it was the extra to learn the treasurer's position. I thought it was just extra because of the extra work that was being done, like HR, different things like that. I thought that was why the 5,000 stipend was granted by the Board of Finance. So I don't know. I think we should maybe leave that in there.
We okayed it because Cheryl advised us that she was going to be taught other things that could help her to move to the treasurer's position.
Okay, because I thought it was the Board of Finance that authorized that stipend.
We did that. Board of Selectmen did it.
I thought it was done through Eric and Cheryl. But listen, we can leave it there and then discuss it with the Board of Finance. I mean, and we should sit there and continue to evaluate what is being done in that office and look at that number, because that is something that
I know what we're getting for our $5,000.
Yeah. Which is
Carol, you agree with that?
It can be left there.
I agree with that.
That whole office. Is a new. Lisa is a new, breath of fresh air, and we're going to sit there and all try to work together and get the information the best that we possibly can. So taking care of Lisa and the treasurer's salary is more important to me than reducing the assistant treasurer stipend. Okay. So does anybody else have any other issues with anything in this section?
I have a question. Maybe, I don't know if everybody else knows what it is. You look back to 23-24 and 24-25 actual, the stipend is huge. The wages is low in 23-24, and then in 24-25, it's reversed. No stipend, but then the wages go way up. What happened there?
I don't know. It was like that. So I don't know if maybe that stipend was added and somehow the description went on the assistant wage line and should have been on the other line. I don't know because I wasn't here.
Yeah, I know you weren't.
Yeah.
Look, it should have been in the wage line.
Right.
And if that's something that was back when it was Marina and Sherry, and something got mixed around there. I don't know.
We can take a look at that.
It's probably not necessary to know. I was just curious.
Yeah.
No, those are the items that are being looked at. So
I think we split the cost with the school. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I know you did.
When we shared the treasurer and the assistant to the treasurer. So I think that the school maybe picked up some of the treasurer's salary. I'm not positive though.
Yeah.
We can check with Valerie.
Valerie, and you also have to remember, we haven't been in QuickBooks that long. I have to find the starting date, but I don't think it's that much before that. So, okay. Okay. Town clerk. Does anybody else have anything on the treasurers? I mean, the other parts are, software maintenance, anything else? Town clerk? All right. Anybody have any issues related to the town clerk?
The only thing, if you can scroll down to restoration, I can't, is it still at 6,500? Okay, that should be 1,000 because what happened was the $5,500 grant was in there. And I don't know why it changed and started in, I forget what year that the $5,500 grant was added to that line, but we shouldn't be taxing people on a grant because if the grant isn't applied for, then that money isn't going to come in. So it always used to be shown on a different line. It was just $1,000 that was on that line just to supplement the grant for any project in the clerk's office.
Okay.
Jeff, with that, it goes back to talking to the auditors again, because we keep hitting this problem with who wants to, and I'm really back to the Board of Finance, because it's the same with the library brought to me last week that they think that their $3,800 from the Friends needs to be taken off of their budget. I've always been in the practice of listing your entire budget, and what goes in the revenue goes in the revenue. But it depends on what Board of Finance and you want to do or the auditors want to do. I just had never applied it that way, but I can do whatever you guys want to do. That's why it's still 6,500, because I don't know if that has been resolved with the Board of Finance yet, how to do that, how they want to do it.
So just so we're clear and everybody understands it, you're sitting there saying, if we get the $6,500 of revenue, right?
55.
Yeah. Say that again, Carol.
5,500 because historic dock restoration, taxpayers paid $1,000 for that line.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple years ago, the $5,500 grant that I would apply for each year was then put on that line. So it's misleading to have $6,500 there.
Where would you spend the money?
Yeah, that's
what would you have spent it on?
Okay. So the $1,000 for restoration is to restore anything. Some of the, like the older books, the ink was fading. So we had to have them scanned and redone so that you could still read the ink. Another time we had all of the minutes scanned into a program, a Laserfish program that made it easy for them to be searched. We also took the minute books that were just 3-ring binders on regular paper and put them onto archival paper so that they last longer.
Okay.
So again, the people should only be being taxed on $1,000. And if the clerk's office applies for the $5,500 grant, it's for specific things that are allowed within that grant.
So if you don't get the 5,500, those things will not be done?
Correct.
Okay. Because I think that's the thing. It's like with the library, there's $3,800 from the Friends. But if they don't get $3,800, does that mean they have to forfeit things they were going to use the $3,800 for? I guess that's the question I'm worried about, that people won't get the grant or they won't get the donation, and then they'll come back for money because they didn't get the money they were counting on, but they still have the expense. But you're saying you won't have the expense.
Right, because that's deceiving to the people, taxing them for money that's going to be coming in via a grant.
Well, it depends upon if we're putting the grant in the revenue section.
Correct. Because then you're not taxing them.
Right. So the grant always was in the revenue section. So the $5,500 grant, the prior treasurers would always put it into the revenue section the following year. And another thing with that grant, there's 2 times of the year that you can apply for it. And one, if you apply for it in September, it would be in the following fiscal year, not the current one as if you were to apply in April. So that's the only reason I'm saying that should be out of there.
Okay.
We know that they reapplied for that grant.
Okay.
Right.
But even if they reapply for the grant,
Shouldn't be in there anyways. It should be in the revenue side, right?
Correct.
we'd have to put it in the revenue side if they're going to apply for it. So I would make or Carol, make a motion to sit there and move it to $1,000.
All right, I move to reduce line 117885, historic dock restoration, to $1,000.
I'll second that.
Okay. Ann Cremay said, Carol Lee made the motion. Ann Cremay seconded. Further discussion? Ann Cremay, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol Lee?
Aye.
Jeff Murray?
Aye.
Scott Person?
He's waving.
Okay, he said aye. Okay, and Jeff McGuire, aye. So 5-0 to reduce line
Could have been there.
17885 to $1,000. Okay. Anything else on the town clerk side?
No.
Okay. The tax collector. Lisa, do you know where and did this come from Kate? These numbers in the current budget?
No, this came from, well, I think the operating came from Kate, but I believe that Jim actually talked about the salary.
Yeah. I mean, my question is, where is she at with her classes, and do we owe her an increase? Because I know there's been.
I think last week she said she still has another class. Maybe she said 3 classes are done, but she still has another one, I think.
Okay, so this is just a 3% number. And then the question is that in accordance with the union contract?
The 3%, I believe so. I don't have that contract with me.
Okay. All right, we should take a peek at that one and just ask Kate about her classes to sit there and see, because I know there was
One more tech class to take, I think.
Yeah, there was
Yeah, I
something
think so, too.
with Kate to try to move her up the pay scale as she got closer to getting her tax collector certification. So, okay. And then our software is increasing by $1,800 for QDS. So there's an increase in that section. The assessor's office, these are both union contracts. We need to look at that, and we need to look at the assessor's number to make sure that that lines up with the union contract. I will sit there and take a peek at that. And their software is going up $1,600 as well. All right. Did anyone have anything with the tax collector's lines? Okay.
Jeff, I hate to interrupt you, but we're talking about software. And I don't think anybody put in the treasurer's line that I think we're going to probably have a couple $1,000 we need to update QuickBooks because it's expiring in May. So I haven't had a chance to look up and see. I think it was 2,200 or something like that last year when I was in Salem. Because ours was older too.
Well, you see, my problem with this is I don't even have one in for current expenses. So I know we're going up 171. It's going up to $3,000.
Yep.
But I'd like to know where they put the software. So let's look at that, and we'll go back to the Board of Finance on that one.
Okay.
Did anyone have anything else on the tax collectors? Okay. The assessor's office. So the assessor put this in, and then so his biggest issues are the assistant assessor, and then the question ends up being, did we? That's an interesting thing. I know this is a union position, but is the assistant assessor hired at that same rate? Because it is a union position. So I do think that's something that we should look at, how we write those union contracts in the future. We should probably put a sliding scale in. I know we've never had anyone leave, so it's only continued to go up. But since this is a brand new person, we should probably start looking at that as we do our union contracts in the future. And we need to make sure that both of those numbers line up with this union contract. Okay. So that's our increases to wages, and then our increases to software. Anybody have anything on the assessors? Okay. The registrars, have a total increase of 3.69%, but the registrars gave the Board of Finance some information as to why the registrars obviously are having additional work that they're having to put into related to all the changes in the voting rules. So I don't see any problem with any of the minor requests that they're asking for that total $920. Anybody? Okay. There's a bigger increase in our election balance. We'll go over here. So there's a poll worker increase, the total number. One of the larger expense increases is related to the new tabulators that the state required that we get for voting. So the maintenance contract and the licensees increased. I don't necessarily know that we'll continue to get additional ballot requests, and hopefully that will be under budget. And then an increase in meals to cover all the people, the poll workers. This one is a significant increase to the total budget, but again, it's one of those unfunded mandates with everything that we've been pushed down from the state and the federal level as far as election requirements. Anybody else have a problem with this one? All right. So the building department is all salaries. They're not asking for any additional funding on any of the other line items. Just don't total very much. Can you tell me what these payroll services are, Lisa?
Go in.
The time clocks?
Let me go into QuickBooks. Let's see.
And that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, so far this year, looking at activity this year, it's $167 a month, pretty much.
But why do we have $6,000 spent on a $2,000 budget?
I think there's something, if we looked at this, there was something, asked my accountant or something. It was here when I came. Is that correct? You remember that? We've got to get to the bottom of it and see why it's in payroll services.
Okay.
Because if I look in I could look in last fiscal year, but it was strange at the time.
So are you saying that that's not the balance in that account right now? $62.98?
Oh, right now or last year?
Right now. Like, what's the balance in that account right now?
No, I think it got moved to ask my accountant because it didn't make sense. It was several entries, remember? I think we looked at it and we couldn't determine what it was. So that's where we had to move it to. So that it really didn't look like payroll services.
Okay, so $167 times 12.
Out to 2004.
Yep. Right. So the amount that's budgeted this year is closer to what the true amount is. When I did this, we discovered that way back then.
Okay. So let's let's make that line item 2004. I'll make a motion that we increase line 129,315 payroll services to $2,004.
Second that, Jeff.
Scott seconded.
How much was that? Was it 169? Because let me just make sure that didn't go up.
169 or 167? I did 167.
Well, yeah. Oh, hold on. It was 164 in that year, but this fiscal year, yeah, it's gone up to 189.73 as of January. No, let's see, December it went up to 182. It's actually a few dollars difference. It was 167 until December. Back in November and July to November were 167.
Okay,
But
leave it
since
at
then-
leave it at $2,000, and then can you put in the notes exactly what's that for? Because if that's
Okay.
if that is for time punch it finger scan sections, I'd like to know.
Okay.
We should look at that one.
Okay.
Okay, water testing, elevator service contract, computer tech support. Is that the increase being requested by South Windsor?
Hey,
That's everything that's in there for last year.
Have we gotten, I thought South Windsor presented us with some,
Trying to remember, did they?
I thought they did. If not, I will sit there and communicate with South Windsor because I want to make sure. I thought there was something out there for South Windsor for a requested increase. I mean, they only provide us with a day. Is it a day every other week?
And then a half a day the other week. So it's only a day and a half a month.
Day and a half. Okay. We should look at that one.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask a question? Why does the percentage of change? Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at 8,300. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, none of these have changed. They're just re-overing the line again. So, like, what we should be looking at is the difference between this, and are we going to incur more expenses? Right. So this is only through January to see what's up. So like the Tallinn 911 dispatch, we've already paid that bill to them. Right. And obviously postage, where we've reduced our postage, that's something that we probably could sit there and the Board of Finance could sit there and go after. I mean, because we may not spend it. And then the electricity, are we doing a better job with our electrical rates? I mean, we have 5,000 for this building out of a $13,000 budget. And actually, you already lowered the budget on this because
I forecasted it. Yeah.
You forecasted it out for the rest of the months. So
Right.
we've done a better job with our electricity. So this account, it's a town office building account, is, we're decreasing it, and we possibly could decrease it even a little bit more if we looked at these current expenses harder. Like, we need to look at what's in this one, obviously, but we'll sit there and get through it. Nothing else jumps out at me as far as
Can I just say something about the postage?
Sure, go
Don't
ahead.
forget, we have all the bulk mailings that we have to do for the budget, and that all comes out of the postage. So it wouldn't be expended yet.
Yep.
But it will be.
Okay, so we're going to have an additional hit in the last quarter of the fiscal year, to sit there and pay that.
Right. And I think the assessor's office mails out, I don't know what they mail out, but a couple times of the year they have big mailings too. And the tax collector delinquent notices.
All right, our advertising budget, we're getting close for this year. We'll probably go over in that one. So in the year before, we were at 8,200, and we had the budget decreased. So we're probably going to go over budget again. I would leave it at the $6,000, and we'll sit there and deal with that. This insurance here, this is just the Kerma number. Is that accurate, Lisa?
Yes. No.
Right.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's not the health insurance if that's
No.
what you're asking.
Yeah, that
no.
should be in the next section. So this is Kerma.
Right.
So Kerma, we budgeted $122,000. We're right now at 95,000, but they came up from 114. So have you gotten a notification from Kerma as to where they're?
No, and that's on my list too. I've got it all. In fact, I think I wrote to Kerma again last week and said, where are we at? Because we asked for a 3-year quote for the workers' comp and we have not heard back from them.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I did write to them last week, emailed them.
Okay. So we're probably going to be under budget on this number. This number that you're requesting for this is done based upon the estimated payroll moving forward. Is that accurate? Okay.
Yep.
Can we sit there and really look at this number, this line item? We've got to get an opinion as to unemployment. Like, that's not unemployment comp, that's unemployment taxes. Like, these two are actual taxes paid by the town on employee pay. So that's, for lack of a better term, that's the company portion of the Social Security Medicare, and that's the company or town portion of unemployment taxes paid to the state of Connecticut. I have a problem with that item. We need to look at how it's currently being handled.
And what about it don't you like, Jeff? Wouldn't you just write unemployment comp tax next to it?
No, what I'm after, Scott, is I'm not sure the town has to be paying it in that manner, but that's something that's been going on, and we just have to deal with how it's set up. So there's two ways I understand that towns can do it. You can pay unemployment taxes, or you can pay for unemployment that you pay out to your employees. And to be really honest, Carol, when's the last time we laid a person off in the town of Andover?
COVID? Was it maybe COVID? If they come back at COVID?
The town was very generous. They paid everyone their salary all through COVID. So they were very generous with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to sit there and look at that. Health insurance, this is the, we're going to be underneath this number this year simply because we had so many changes in employees and what their costs were. So we have to sit there and look at this one. But
can I just ask a question on that? We used to list under each department health and dental insurance, and it was just for the last maybe 3 budget seasons that we do this in one big lump sum. I just think we should go back to putting them under each department, because we have a handful of employees who actually take the health insurance. And then we have a handful who take the, $65,000 or $7,000 stipend for not taking it. So I just think it would be more clear to put it under each department rather than have that large amount.
I agree with you, Carol, but to be really honest, this has always been the way it's been done since I've been engaged. I tried at one point in time to put it into each section according to department, and it didn't fly with the auditor, and it didn't fly. It just, I did try that.
But why would
I would tell you that what I had been working on to try to organize the information would be a document that would sit there and say, here's the compensation for each department, and here is the related health insurance and MRF contributions related to that department. And then that way we would understand how that number gets broken down by department. We should see that. And that is what I had tried to work on because, as I said at one point in time, payroll and payroll related costs are easily in excess of 50% of our total budget. So health insurance, all of those, when you sit there and you take health insurance and you take the MRF, those two right there in the budgeted are totaling up to $375,000 or thereabouts, and our payroll is about $101,000. So 1.4 million out of our $2.5 million is strictly related to employees.
But up to 3 years ago, it was listed per department. So I don't know, why would the auditor have a problem with us going back to that?
Oh,
because we did it that way for years.
We can ask, but honestly, Carol, I don't think that's correct. I mean, I think you and I will disagree on what we remember the line items being. I remember walking into this going, here was an employee benefit, big mess of information. And I had wanted to sit there and break it down by department, and I was told that's not how they do it in municipal accounting.
Yeah, we didn't do it that way in Salem either. And I will tell you, Carol, that it often doesn't ring true when you do it that way, only because you have so many personnel changes of marriage, children, people leaving, people coming on. It's a constant change with who's taking the insurance and who's not. Are they going family, single, joint? It's just such a big variable that trying to do it by a percentage of change usually works better than that.
Yeah, you're better. And Carol, I'll send you what I had built for, I just don't have the MRF contributions right now. That was the one component of this all that I was trying to get done, is to try to get the MRF retirement lined up to the individual employees.
But if you go back and look at the 23-24 budget that is posted online, and just go under town administrator, and the health/dental insurance is listed there, along with retirement MRF, along with Social Security and Medicare.
Okay.
Is it listed for all departments, Carol, though, or just the?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because I know often the superintendent sometimes they'll list like parts of their contract, but I haven't seen it before in the other departments.
Well,
so I'm looking at the treasurers now, they're in town clerk. We were all listed so that everyone in town has a true picture of what each department is costing them.
I have no problem if we can get that to them. It's just how we do it. So let's sit there and circle back to that one. And that's an operational change that we would need to make, and we need to get aligned with the auditor.
Okay.
All right. So this is actually the fee. I think this just got paid. And can we make sure that that went into the correct account? I never saw that there before, Lisa.
All right. It just kicked me out again, so I have to get back in there.
All right. Anybody have any other questions on the employee benefit section?
Where were you at, Jeff?
This one line item, this
the admin fee.
Admin for the MRF fee.
Yep. You want me to look into that?
I'm just not sure that got into that account.
Okay. Hold on.
Because I think you and I looked at it, and I think it came out of
MRF itself instead of the admin.
Correct.
Let me take a look. I'm just signing on, re-signing.
Okay. Community center. What do we want to sit there and do with the community center as far as employees? And I'm asking more, do we want to add more hours? What is everybody's take on where the community center is and where it's going?
I just heard we hired a new transportation coordinator.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. My question is, we used to have a 26-hour director and a 10-hour assistant for a total of 36 hours. Now we've got a 26-hour director and a 19-hour assistant, plus another 10-hour driver bus coordinator. So that adds up to 55 hours. So we added about another 20 hours at the community center.
Okay.
About what Eric wanted initially, wanted 60.
Well, I guess I understand that that's true, and there's definitely reasons why we did that. And the question is, what do we want to do moving forward? Do we want to sit there and I personally look at it and I go, if we're not, I believe that it is being a service to the residents, and what I'm after is anyone hearing anything negatively related to it? And then if we do that, and we know we have a contract with, or a contract that's expiring with the director for 26 hours, and we had the assistant that's at 19 hours, what would we want to make the rate for that assistant? And personally, I think having a driver coordinator is really the right thing to do. And I don't know if anyone else has heard negative issues related to the driver coordinator, the previous driver coordinator, or this driver coordinator.
I hear positive things.
Yeah, very positive for that. I think we probably need to cut down the hours on the assistant because that's a lot of expense there.
I don't necessarily know.
Very close.
I think we need
very close to the same number of hours.
I think we need to change the hourly rate on the assistant, and I would like to keep it because it gives you coverage.
What's the hourly rate difference then? That doesn't say on the budget.
I know you said you need a driver coordinator, but I'm just asking the question of why that couldn't be rolled into the assistant role. Because we've got way more hours than we had originally. We have 10 or 11 more hours than we had before.
It's not what we asked for initially, Jeff. The Board of Finance reduced those hours from what Eric wanted.
Well, they reduced it from whatever what did he put in for originally? 50,000 or 60,000, and they reduced it to 50. But they didn't have an assistant in there, and they didn't have a driver coordinator, because originally the director did it all. But what is the hourly calculation for the 19-hour-a-week assistant? Did you do that, Jeff?
I was trying to look to see. I don't have that. It's not in the payroll summary that's available.
That's what I'm saying. It's not in there because I don't. Is it a brand new position?
No. It's in
Okay.
Haley Proto.
Oh, I thought you meant the driver. I'm sorry.
No. Well, we want to know the hourly rate.
Isn't that under, instead of community center, is that under the senior program? Why am I thinking that? Let me just take a look. If that's where it went.
So if you're still doing 19 hours a week for the community center assistant, 19 hours a week, it would be $11.17 an hour.
Doesn't seem right.
Well, the question is, what do we want to make? If we made, let's sit there and say we have all these positions. 1 second. I gotta get one more piece of information.
Yeah, it's over with senior citizens. Instead of being in the community center, it's listed over page 17 of 21 in the book. And it's got Andover senior transportation. But as far as the assistant, there's a resident services coordinator, but it's only $6,000 a year.
That is for the community center director to serve as municipal agent to the elderly, and social services director.
Yep.
Municipal agent.
Right. And the line, it says dispatch and drivers, and that includes the transportation coordinator.
Assistant.
Okay, so can I gotta, I know this was a problem and it's something, Lisa, that I'm gonna have to ask you to do is like, what wages are in the wages of the director line? Like,
Let me see. Let me go back
and that's
I've been trying to get a list by person, by department, what their hours, what their rate is, and how many hours a week they work. I've been trying to pull that together since I got here, and I can't get any answers. So I watched Chris do payroll for the first time today. So I'm on, because I think it would be really helpful here if I knew how many hours people worked. But I will look and see what is in that line.
okay. And what I'm after is,
So I think what that is, a community center assistant, was originally when it was just 10 hours a week at $20 an hour. So this was before the driver dispatcher was put in. So the director would do the dispatching of the drivers, and the community center assistant helped with senior lunches and things like that. But that was only 10 hours a week at $20 per hour.
well,
So it looks like that line still has the 10 hours a week at 20 an hour.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that's not reality, Carol, because we know that we've had two, the assistant was getting paid. So listen, my mind would be the assistant, and we should put this in the budget. The assistant, I would want to sit there and keep all three positions. That would be me. I think it's flowing well. I think the seniors are getting, some value to having coverage there more often, and the community center and the senior center appears to be getting used more. So that would be my opinion, but I would sit there and reduce the hourly rate on the assistant. So if the director is being paid 34 hours a week, I would have the assistant get paid 19 hours a week, but I would change the hourly rate from what is currently being paid down to $25 an hour. And because I believe the rate that the 10-hour coordinator is getting paid is the same rate that the drivers get paid, which I believe is $20.71, something in that ballpark. So $20.61.
I'm sorry, my QuickBooks keeps freezing.
Yeah, that's fine. So it's a question for the board. Do we believe that the director at 34 hours has enough time? And do we want to sit there and keep an assistant for, and how many hours do we want to keep that assistant for? And then if we do the driver coordinator, does that make sense? The one thing that I don't like, and Lisa, I don't know, what is the revenue generated by the community center, and how can we tell that number?
I don't know where. I haven't had time yet to track, like if there's a class or something, to see where that goes, where that revenue goes into.
It's being deposited into a liability account that used to be labeled senior lunch.
Well, like even rec activities, not even senior activities, but like rec activities. I'd like to see the flow of that, and I haven't had time to look at that yet.
Okay, so we'll sit there and get to all that. The question ends up being, okay, what if we sat there and reduced the assistant's hours to 15 hours a week? I believe you should probably think of keeping the driver coordinator at 10 hours a week. And then you leave the director at 34 hours a week.
So I don't believe the director is 34 hours a week.
No? What is it?
No.
26, I believe.
Tess is Tess still on?
Agreed that it was her thing was 26 hours plus 6 for the municipal assistant, municipal agent.
Well,
26 and 6.
It's 32. But I thought it was 30 hours a week.
In here, it looks like both Haley and Tess are going into that figure. Let's see. But we're over. That amount is up to 57,000 right now, so it's over 22%. Currently, like in like as of now, as of March. Let me just go in and look at. And Linda Derrick is going into the assistant line.
She shouldn't be.
Well,
driver dispatch.
I don't know. That's the line she's being put into. Like I said, I haven't even looked at payroll, and today was the first day I could see it. And I still don't have a list yet from payroll to show number of hours and where it's going. But that's what I see in there presently. Is both Haley and Tess are going into director, and $7,000 so far to Linda Derrick. So
okay, so we have to sit there and identify who's being categorized where, but let's just talk in global terms. So if there's 26 hours for the director,
She has 6, Jeff.
well, she has 6, but it's
For the municipal agent.
It's not budgeted there though.
yeah, it's down in the seniors.
So I'm just dealing with that line item for the budget. So the only thing that concerns me is I believe there's a stipend for health insurance. I need to look at that and where that would go. I think what this board needs to do before we sit there and pass this to the Board of Finance on Wednesday is look at this one and go, are we okay with the hours? I mean, to me, 26 hours for the director, just for the director, and don't take the other money from the municipal agent into account. 26 hours at $34, but that's going to adjust that would adjust potentially based upon 3%. 26 hours for the director, 15 hours for the assistant, and 10 hours for the transportation coordinator. They don't really think it's outlandish for trying to run a building that actually should probably stay open more hours than even the town office building.
And it does, right?
Well, it should. I mean,
It should be open more.
I know we have a lot of volunteers that come in and do stuff, but that's what this board needs to decide if those hours are out of line. And if you think they're out of line, then we need to adjust the budget. Anybody?
Well, why can't they be open on Fridays?
Are you
I
asking me?
think they are half a day. They have people come in for crafts and things like that. So I think they are on Friday.
I think they just started that or something.
But again, I'm just asking the same question.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean, also, I'd like to see it open, more hours myself.
So you're saying to change that community center assistant line, 15 hours a week, 25 hours, $25 per hour.
That's what.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. And did you calculate that out?
It's not adding hours, Jeff.
Well, see, this is where this is a little screwy because both people are being put under the director wages right now. So when we're doing payroll, we're putting both.
Sorry, my cat.
Yeah, they're both in the same bucket. So it's not, you're not looking at this community center assistant and seeing the right amount of money that you would want pushed there. So if I sat there and said it and you had 52 weeks, you would put, $19,500 under the assistant. And then you would put the amount of, the prior budget, right? So the 2025 budget. So the $47,000 was the total that we expected to spend. And that could be with, let's sit there and do that math. Times 26 times 52. So, we put the budgeted $47,000. The number should be about $45,968 in total, based upon an hourly rate of $34.26. But there's a 3% increase. So
$35.81 per hour with the increase.
Yeah, I would think you'd be looking at something like $47,500 in a budget request with a 3% increase. But the one thing that bothers me, and I don't necessarily have an answer for anybody, is where have the insurance stipends been put?
I think they're all listed under the insurance employee benefits. That's why I'm saying if we put it under every department, and I know you agree with me, Jeff, it gives a really clear picture.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'd like to know, I would like to know what the departments in total cost us, just like you said. Right. I always wanted to know that. So, I think this discussion, though, is just think hours. Does 26 hours, 15 hours, and 10 hours work for the group or not work for the group?
I think it does.
Okay. Then our current reduction, and it's not a reduction from current spend, but we would be reducing our assistant, the community center assistant's wage, hourly rate to $25 an hour. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No, that's fair.
Okay. And then the driver coordinator's hourly rate would be $28.61, which matches up with the drivers. Does anyone have a problem with that hourly rate?
20 or 21?
$20.61.
61.
Now that might have to get adjusted slightly based upon the 3% increase, because I think I'm using the number from last year. Does anyone technically have a problem with that or a 60-cent change to that to $20 and $21.20. Okay. And
So are we going to vote on the community center assistant being 15 hours a week at the 25?
yeah, I would sit there and
Okay.
and you know, so if we sat there and said it's 25 times 15 times 52.
We said 19,500.
So so just so we're all clear, we're not going to adjust the wage line on the director right now because that's just taking in the 3% change.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjust from section 4214 line 318101 a community center assistant. We request the budget for next year to be $19,500.
Second.
Carolee seconded. Discussion. Ann Cremay, how do you vote? Ann, did I miss you?
That I.
Aye. Okay. Carolee.
Aye.
Jeff Murray.
Aye.
Scott Person.
Aye.
And Jeff McGuire. Aye. So 5-0 on 19,500 for that line item. Okay.
But you're leaving the director 48,410?
Yes.
Is that 3%? Okay.
Yep. All right. And then we go through
All of it under the community center?
say that again.
It'll keep going.
So actually, let me type this in here.
And she put in for money for software this year?
She actually got a grant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She got a grant to fund the software. So we're not going to, I believe that was what I was told.
That could be used for that.
Bring to the
That's right there.
budget there. It says software.
That's right there. Yeah.
So Jeff, is that something you have found out before I got that 6,200 number from her? Or is that after?
Hold on. I'm trying to look at this.
Yep.
Where's the software request? Is it in
Office supplies line.
207.
Yep.
Yeah, way down lower, Jeff. Right there. You just passed it.
this
Right
one?
there.
That's it. It's in
Yeah.
software.
Over to the right in the
Yeah,
explanation in the
I see
memo
that.
column.
I'm going to sit there and I'm going to make a motion that we reduce the office supply line to $800. So I'm going to make a motion that we reduce line 318-610 office supplies for the community center to $800. Anybody going to second that? Because they did get a grant to pay for that.
Office supplies for software?
Are we positive that they received the grant to cover that software? Can we ask?
To know.
What is the office? What's it encompassed there? The office supplies. We don't know. I see what you're saying, Jeff.
All right. Well, let's ask Tess to talk because she's on this meeting.
Please.
Yep. Tess, if you can. There you go. Can't see it because I'm on the screen. So please explain to the Board of Selectmen the issue related to the grant for the software.
Yeah, we applied for the MGP grant and that was $10,000. And we can apply for that for the next 3 years. We will get $10,000 each year. And the first year it will be going to the grant, towards the grant. And so
Explain the grant purpose so everybody understands.
yeah, so the grant is for transportation. You can use that towards salaries, and $1,000 of that $10,000 can go towards administration. We asked if that could go towards the software because the software would be going into transportation vehicles, and it was approved. And they're just doing the paperwork. They did say that it would get approved and we should get that money. I would assume we would get that money by April, if not by the end of April.
So you're okay with us taking that out?
I am okay with you taking that out of office supplies. Okay. I do, however, I will say that we would like a computer, or not a computer, excuse me, a printer, maybe a black and white printer in the transportation assistant office as well. And so that might be maybe $300 maximum. So
Can you afford that out of your $800
or under the equipment?
Either or. That's something that we do need. So either this fiscal year or next.
Okay, so let's do it this fiscal year.
Is there a printer in the community center currently?
Yeah, there is one in there, but we do a lot of printing. I would say we do a lot of printing just in black and white. We do have to go next door for color. We are going to be lowering the color printer and the use of the color printer next door, because we do have somebody that is printing our newsletters and our newsletters. So it's just flyers for next door.
Just questioning, what kind of printer is that? Is it a Wi-Fi printer or is it a network print?
It is, I believe it is a Wi-Fi printer. Yep.
So you should be able to print from any machine via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so the printer is in my office, and just looking for a printer for the assistant and the transportation coordinator. They are sharing an office currently.
Okay. Well, my thing was, if you guys could share the printer, it's pretty easy to set up a printer for multiple machines. That's why I was just questioning it.
Yeah, the assistant isn't always in the office when I'm there. And so it would just make things easier so that the assistant isn't always in my office when I'm not there. And yeah, we just figured that that would just make things a little bit easier.
Okay.
And you have 2 computers that are good computers?
We have only one computer for the assistant. I do have an outdated one that's actually broken. I'm hoping to get that printer delivered soon. And yeah.
You're hoping
you've already ordered
the computer or
a new computer for myself. It was in my line item, or it wasn't my budget. So I did order a computer and it hasn't come in yet.
Oh, okay. Will it be in before the end of this fiscal year? So you'll take it out of this current budget?
Yes, I'm hoping. I did order it maybe last month or the month before.
Oh, is it a special order? It takes a little while to come in?
I don't quite know the answer to that. I do know that I am working with the IT department with Steve, and we're just waiting for that to come in.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay, so
I'll second that, Jeff.
okay, so we'll second reducing the office supply total on line 318610 to $800. Okay, so Carol Lee seconded that. Ann Creme, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol Lee?
Aye.
Jeff Murray?
Aye.
Scott Person,
Aye.
Jeff McGuire, aye. So 5-0 on a reduction of line 318-610 to $800. Okay. Sorry, wrong buttons. Okay. Town garage. We're obviously doing slightly better on electricity. We need to look at that fuel oil line again. I would hope the whole geopolitical thing is over before this budget would take effect. But did we
have to address?
Did we lock in our price? Is my question. And I believe we did, but
I believe we did too, but I don't have it.
Yeah, let's verify that just so we're good. All right. Does anybody have any problems with the budget on this section submitted by Eric?
Software for the fuel tank in there?
Isn't that part of capital? No? You're talking about what he's going to talk about in capital?
Yeah.
It has to be redone. It had to be redone, 2 years ago, but we didn't finance it. So
actually, Scott, I'm going to recommend that we take it out of building maintenance this year. And let's see if we can do it within this 2025-2026 budget.
Soon they're not going to be able to keep track of the fuel coming out of there.
But does anybody have a problem if we sit there and try to utilize this money that's left in this building maintenance?
That's a good idea.
I mean, I have to find out if he has anything planned to do down there, but if not, I would sit there and say it would be a wise use of those funds to sit there and update that software. Anybody have a problem if we sit there and look at doing that?
No, using the money that's in this current fiscal year. But
Correct.
then we can put it again next year?
We would just leave the building maintenance there to sit there and do building maintenance. But if that building maintenance fund is available, we might as well sit there and try to buy the software to update the tank and it's basically the pump,
it keeps track of how much fuel's coming out of there.
Yeah, coming out of the tank.
I think that's a good idea, but I'm just curious why we would still fund at the 17,850 if we haven't been using it. Do we have track? I know I see 2425.
I think part of the problem, Carol, is we just had, a change there. So any maintenance that might have been on the agenda got pushed back because Eric was trying. He might have something he needs to do. So us thinking that we might use that money for the software is we're going to have to figure that out if it will work.
I think he's starting to work on those brick walls down there too.
Yeah. I mean, he and his team are doing a pretty good job. They kind of got smacked with all the snow and,
there has been some money spent just since that came out because I just am pulling it up now. He got some overhead doors, it looks like, for $1,600.
Okay.
And he got ceiling something with Corbett HVAC. Ceiling hung. I don't see the rest of the description here. So it looks like he is using it a little.
Let me ask Eric what would be most important to him and see if we can do it. And if not, I'll sit there and I'll go back to the Board of Finance and ask for something to be added somewhere related to that.
Be taken care of though.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything with any of the other line items for the town garage? Okay. Old Town Hall, building maintenance alarm system. I did get a request from Kathy DeRozier's on the old town hall and something they were looking at doing, but I do believe that she was going to sit there and work toward doing some kind of donation request, sit there and get something done. But we should, and this is not for this year and not for next year, we should look at the old town hall as a renovation project, and we should sit there and probably apply for grants to sit there and do it. So, old firehouse, are we really still paying for electricity there?
Like it.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's
$67 a month, it looks like, something like that.
okay. We should look at that. The annual audit and actuary services, we've got these these requests for dollars were have we gotten anything new from the auditor?
No, I did ask them if it was a single or multi-year contract. He said it's a single year. That's all he commented on it. He didn't give me any price or anything.
Okay. I would sit there and say that's okay. Well, we should leave those in, but also verify with them if there's going to do any changes. This line item for the town attorney and the legal retainer, I don't believe all of that goes to Attorney O'Brien, but because and I'm just telling you, there's a lot of stuff that's going on and it's going to come down the road, and Attorney O'Brien needs to get more money. We have coming up in this year, and it's a question of, do I ask Attorney O'Brien to do it, or do I ask the attorneys to do it? We have a whole set of easements that have to be drafted and written related to the
Bridge.
I can't remember. No, it's the brook on Lake Road, Bazzola, off of Bazzola Road. I think I want to say Cheney, but I think it is Cheney Brook. There are probably 7 easements that need to be drafted with the residents in that area. And it's a question of, do I go to Attorney O'Brien and ask him to do that? And if I do we pay him separately, or do we just sit there and up his retainer and pay him more than he's currently getting? I would tell you he deserves to get paid $20,000, and that's probably still not enough for all the time he puts in with us.
He works. I asked him to keep track of his hours just so people would realize how many hours he really does work. But
of that 10,000, only half of that is to him. Only 5,200 of that is to him. The other part of it is to Kanan, Escalera, and McHale.
Okay, so that was related to our personnel issue. And what? So you're saying the current expenditure of $10,029?
He's only been paid for 2 quarters. He has not been paid for the 3rd quarter of the retainer yet.
And what was the semi-annual or the half year number? 5,000 what?
Yeah, it's $26.25 a quarter. So it's what, $52.50 for half a year?
God.
attorneys are $400 an hour.
$10,500. Well, my recommendation or my request still probably stands. He should get paid $20,000. And the question ends up being, okay, if not that, then what will happen? And I will sit there and probably push some of the work that's coming down the road especially on those easements, to some other attorney, and then we're going to have to raise the fees somewhere else. So it's going to come out someplace. So I guess that's what I'm asking is what is everybody's appetite for providing Attorney O'Brien an increase?
Can we just keep him where he's at? And then if we've got other, abnormal conditions, we can discuss that as on an as needed basis.
Where am I getting it from?
Well, I mean, those fees should probably come out of the projects because that's a project expense with that project. So if something happens, you should take that money out and it should be paid as a separate line item.
So what you're recommending is we sit there and go to the bridge and we sit there and put it through the bridge program and say the legal fees, here are the legal fees related to the bridge program.
Correct. Because it's an actual expense that you have to do to complete the project.
And that gives the people a true picture of what these projects cost.
Let me find out if I can do that.
idea. Yeah.
You should be able to. I mean, that's a project cost.
I have no problem in sitting there trying to put that through. I still think you should pay him more. I should sit there and I'm just telling you should get it to, if it's at 10,000, it's at 10,000. 26, 25.
You have to, attorneys get paid $400.
Get it, put it to 12,500. So I'll make a motion that you increase Attorney O'Brien's retainer to 12,500. That's a $2,000 increase, which is a pittance for the amount of work that he has done and he's going to end up having to do for the issues we're going to face.
He would only have to work 40 hours to even it.
He worked 40 hours on the opinion related to the.
This is ridiculous.
So anyway, he deserves it. I'm just telling you. I don't believe that the residents understand how much Attorney O'Brien does in the background to assist our little town.
Is our labor?
Our labor attorney is in the number, the 10,029.
Okay.
So what Chris said in the 10,029 was Attorney McHale for, give me a second, $5,000. So 2625 times 2 means that Attorney O'Brien was 5,250 out of that number.
Right.
It's 10,029 means that Attorney McHale for the personnel issue was $4,779.
So this is all legal except obviously for planning and zoning and that they have their own legal line.
Yes, I believe you're correct. Which
They do.
And the only other one that has their own legal line is the assessor.
Correct.
Okay. The assessor can't use attorney. I thought Attorney O'Brien helped with some of the assessor issues.
If I remember correctly, Carol, I'm not sure that the assessor likes to use attorneys that aren't related to the specialty of his work.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how much he used this year. Let's go back up and look at this.
His line was right under Dennis's line.
The assessor's attorney? It's
Yes.
not in the assessor.
Assessor legal was right under Dennis's line.
So what has he spent? I thought it would be.
It doesn't really show it. It was.
He might not have spent anything this year.
Yeah, there wasn't anything spent yet this year.
Which is surprising to me, Carol, because we have a lawsuit that's been going on.
Right. And when the BAA, when are they meeting? Because I know we had to get the extension on the grand list, which means their meetings, I believe, are this month. I don't even know if they had any appeals.
The grand list has been finalized.
Right. The end of February.
Correct.
And then BAA normally would have met already at the beginning of this month, but I don't know.
He hasn't spent anything, so I'm sorry I missed that. But I know of that number, like I said, 50, 52, 50 is there. So I have no problem working with Attorney O'Brien to sit there and get paid under the bridge if I can get it done. So
So is that total staying 16?
But can I ask a question too? Because if we're upping, if we need the labor attorney to help us with, updating personnel policy or contract for the new town administrator, we'll need some money in there too.
I have no problem in sitting there saying like the additional amount of money to Attorney O'Brien is $2,000. So I don't mind if we just go up to $18,000. I don't expect us to have the same personnel issues we had last year this year. I would hope.
I'm not saying personnel. I'm saying it just makes sense to have a labor attorney review or write the contracts and to help us update personnel policies and things like that. That's all I'm saying, rather than, have inexperienced people writing these things.
So what do we want to sit there and have as I don't like the term legal retainer because it should just be legal fees, but what I would ask for a $2,000 increase to this account. Of that, you would be left with, $5,000, Carol, for other legal services.
So the 5,000 we could use with the labor attorney to help. Do you think that would be enough?
I would hope so. I mean, we're going to start with a contract draft and ask him to make sure that we're protecting the town's interest.
Could we maybe bump it to 20 just to make sure we have that in there? If we don't use it, it's going to go back in the general fund. But at least we have that coverage, because again, rewriting the personnel policy or revising personnel policies and writing new contracts, we would just want to make sure that we have enough hours in there for the labor attorney to help us.
I have no problem. I agree with that. So I'll make a motion that we increase in section 4139 town attorney section 107-301 from $16,000 to $20,000.
It's 310.
310, my bad.
That's okay. I'll second.
Okay, further discussion. All right, Ann Cremay, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol Lee,
Aye.
Jeff Murray, Scott Persone. That was an aye. Jeff McGuire, aye. 5-0 to increase IS section 107-310 to $20,000. Okay. Town engineering. We haven't used that this year, but we need to keep, I would imagine we should keep that. Probate court hasn't changed. This one is not a solid, this one needs to increase because we don't have all of the, we don't have all of the money from all of the other groups, do we?
No, we don't. Yeah,
So-
I wondered why there was such a large decrease in that, and I just haven't received anything else.
So do you know, Lisa, the difference? Like that to me is just one of the CROG fees, right?
Yeah, just one. let me go down, see what they were last year, maybe. Let's see. What is that? 417. Oh, this computer.
So what I would ask is what it's 51, 58, which group is this and how much were they last year?
Hold on. That's what I'm looking for.
Because if I remember correctly, you got a letter from them.
From one of them, yes. 41, where is it?
All right, we'll come back to that one. You look at that one.
Okay.
Um,
It's my computer is freezing. I'm sorry.
it's all right. We got to fix the IT issues. Okay, so there is one issue in this, and just to let everybody know, I know that the director is asking to sit there and provide an increase to one of the maintainers. So I'm just telling you that variance that he put in there, and he's been working, I believe, he had put this together for the Board of Finance. So this number here is slightly elevated related to one of the maintainers being moved up. So I spoke to Eric. I understand his logic and what he's trying to do to keep some continuity within the department moving forward. So it's one of the younger employees. Anybody have any issue related to any of the other items in this?
Can I just ask, is it moving someone from a step 1 to a 2 or a 2 to a 3?
You got to get closer.
Can't hear you.
Is that moving from a maintainer 1 to a maintainer 2 or a maintainer 2 to a 3?
I think it's moving from a maintainer 2 to 3.
Okay.
I'd have to get you that because I don't have it in front of me. I'm just letting you know what he's requesting from the Board of Finance related to it.
And can I just ask, maintainer 3 is the top level there, correct?
I believe so, yes, according to the
Okay.
union contract.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I have those figures, but for last year, CCM it says is 1895. CROG was 5158, and cost was 975. But we're saying we only got one of those, but I've seen that 1895.
Well, why don't we just put the budget number in at $8,600, which it was last year?
All right,
Because
because those
I know
three
you
last
put-
year it was 8028, but those were the three.
You're probably going to get the last one before the end of the cycle. So even if we sit there and so, if I have
And
to.
you're just to go back to the MRF admin fee. For some reason, it was put in payroll liabilities. I don't know why. I wasn't the one that entered it, so I'd have to go back and look. But that 3830 should be in the admin fee line for this year.
Well,
So we'll fix that too.
Yep.
I'm not sure why it's there.
but we have an account for it,
Yes.
which
Yep.
is what I was concerned that we didn't have an account for. So,
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjust line 819810 from the initial request of $5158 to $8,500.
Good that, Jeff.
Any discussion on that? This just because that information I know is just one of the groups. We have to account for the other two. Anne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Jeff Murray,
Aye.
Scott Person.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, and adjusting that to 8,500. Actually, just to make sure that I have my number correct, was this adjusted to $20,000 or $18,000?
It was 20.
20. Yep.
Okay, well, let's go down this way. I'm sure I missed a couple. I should have been doing this all the time. Okay, town engineer, nothing. Public works, we did that. Is there anything on public works that anyone else wants to discuss? Because we moved off of this one. I mean, he's really not the biggest increase. The only real increase is the change in this number. You know, so $3,500 or $9,000. Maybe that's actually all related to just payroll. Maybe it's not related to what I thought. Do some math.
3%, I think.
Lisa, these are just so we're aware, this is the information Eric provided you, right?
Well, the 3%, I would have done that just from, and I believe that's, the union contract. Or is theirs up this year? So I just used the 3% for everybody. So I don't think that includes any changes with him.
Okay,
that you were speaking of?
Yeah, that is the 3%. We're going to have to sit there. I know
Check into that. Yeah.
You know, he asked me, he told me that he was thinking about doing that. So maybe it's what he's submitting to the, we'll have to look at that. It should come to you first and then to the Board of Finance so that you can incorporate his requests into this number. So we'll sit there and we need to get with Eric on that. I'll call him in the morning. Obviously our snow removal overtime budget is going to be exceeded. This is only through January. So we had a big month of February. Do you have the number in that line item right now?
Yeah, it was 17,000, but I think it's gone up from that. Hold on. Let me go in there. Snow overtime. Oh, snow is separate down below.
Yeah, 4,307.
Right. Yeah.
What's the number currently that we have in that account that we've spent?
I'm checking the date to see. This does not include. If you want, I can go in and add today's payroll because that only
it's
takes
not
you.
that important.
It's through the end.
Just need to know the number. Yeah.
Yeah. 40,000 is what's been spent. So it's over 17,000. That's as of the last day of February.
Okay. So, and that's probably where we'll end up for the year, $17,000 to $20,000 over. It's not like we should budget for another snow winter like this. So, and then can you just tell us what the salt number is currently?
Yep. Salt looks to be 21,000. But does that not include, there is that bill where only one was paid instead of four? So maybe I'm not sure if that includes that other amount. Hold on. Let me just see if I can pull that.
Can you just
no, that doesn't include all of it.
Can you
one was paid, one bill was paid.
Correct. That will get corrected. So that's another 17,000. So right now we're probably around $34,000 to $35,000 in our salt budget. And I know that Eric, in discussions, he's been having troubles getting his allocation of salt, which the public would sit there and see that the roads have had more sand on them than normal in the last 4 or 5 years. It's because we were running low on our salt allocation. So I would assume that salt will get closer to the budgeted line item and that we'd probably be over in our sand. But it looks like he's going to come in at a reasonable, like we're not going to be that far. We're going to be over our budgeted on certain line items, but hopefully we can keep our salt down to a more reasonable number. But he's got to fill the shed up, so it's coming. I don't really necessarily think we change any of these. I don't think we react for a bad snow season. It was a bad year. Hopefully next
What
year.
is the line for meals?
If they're out working and they go and they get it's in their union contract that they get a certain amount of money to go out for a meal. So what they'll do is
Did they get like a certain amount per meal? Or is it
It's in their union
whatever they get?
contract. Yeah, would have to look at their union contract. It could be different for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not sure. Some contracts
to
are
be
different.
really honest, and the numbers I've seen come through are coming from either Shady Glen or from Tom's. So
Shady Glen was 75 last month.
yeah, it's on the check register that's there. So it's not overly excessive. And what they do is they just go and if they're working around the clock, they'll go grab a meal.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
I just didn't know if they would be getting like huge amounts of food when they go in, or if they're given like $20 to $25 to use for the meal.
No, they go and they get a bill from where they're getting it, and the check gets cut and is dropped back off.
Okay.
Ground care, this will pick up in the spring. Scott, have you heard of any increases that we're looking at on our mowing?
No.
Anybody have any? I mean, stop at any time you guys have a problem with.
Can I ask about beautification?
Sure.
I'm just curious. I know I see that 24-25, the actual was 7,094, but that was when they were doing all the plantings and everything for the community center.
I think this one actually has to do with the other sign that's supposed to go up.
That was under EDC, I believe, the sign.
Could be.
But
I mean, listen, do you want to lower beautification? Let's
not lower beautification.
they certainly haven't used very much of it.
No, and they, like I say, that prior year was for all the plantings around the new senior community center. So did we consult with beautification to see if they actually need that amount?
No, Kathy's been on vacation. She's just back. We should, and let's sit there and get that. I mean, beautification, or we can talk about it as we go to the Board of Finance.
Okay. Or we can just
listen. There's people on the Board of Finance that are here that are listening to us have a conversation about beautification, and they can get some more information if they choose to reduce it. That one I just don't know. I mean, personally, Carol, I would love to sit there and see us do a lot more stuff, but
Me too.
I would love to take $7,200 and clean up the trail right and across the street from the post office, but that would be me. I've been wanting that for years. But if you want to make an adjustment to it, let's make an adjustment to it.
I think we just need to talk with beautification because, again, I know that they increased it substantially to do the plantings around the senior center. So they may not have a lot of plans this year. I don't know.
Okay. Street lighting is, based upon our actual expenditure to Eversource. Custodian line 4199B. I don't know if that B is supposed to be there, but I'll just tell you, they do a phenomenal job.
They're well worth every penny.
We should give them more money. I know we don't have a lot, but those two are so good. I have no problem increasing the percentage change for what they do to keep that town office. I mean, that town office building looks so good.
Beautiful. It's never looked as good as that.
Yeah.
They do the painting inside and out. He cleans the bricks in the front of that building. I agree with you. I think they should get more. I've seen the work that they do. They put up those sound panels for us. They clean the windows. The glass is always clean. The bathrooms are spotless.
Well, listen, I have no problem giving them a 5% increase because they just go above and beyond.
They do. Every time they go in there, they go above and beyond.
So I'll sit there and I'll make a recommendation to line 147-100 to increase that number to $25,000.
Okay.
Well,
I'll
is
second.
I'll second that, Jeff.
Is that pay considered to be an hourly wage, or how do you figure the amount that they get paid?
That could be calculated backwards and for their number of hours.
So it's not based on.
I don't know if he's a salaried oriented.
I think when I saw payroll today, I think it's a salary. I'm almost positive. And if you do it up to 25,000, it's an 8.7 increase, just so you know.
That's fine.
But I think that's fair. They clean the community center. They clean the library too, right?
Yes.
They do work at the library.
They do a really great job. And I think 25,000, they're worth more than that, but
personally I would fund the $1,310. They're so worth it. I mean, I walk into that building every time I see them. I'm like, he's on his hands and knees scrubbing the stuff off the floor. I can't tell you what a good job the two of them do.
Right. They're well worth it. So,
transfer station.
So we seconded it, but we didn't take the vote.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Let's vote on it. Ann?
Yes, I.
Okay. Carol?
Aye.
Jeff Murray? I think he said yes. Did you say yes,
Yes,
Jeff?
aye.
Okay. Scott?
Aye.
All right. Jeff, aye. That's 5-0. Okay. Transfer station, the wages increased 3%, and we have a decrease in forecasted electricity. Do we have anything that looks like it's going to run over? Did we actually spend the money on the brush pile removal, or did it get burned this year, Scott? What happened?
Yeah, they got rid of it. Yeah.
They got rid of it?
You have to put it in there because every year.
Okay. Did it get chipped? Did it get burned? What happened to it?
No, they came and chipped it.
Okay, nothing looks out of the ordinary for our expenses to sit there and get it.
Why are the electricity costs going down up there?
I can't tell you.
It's just a simple forecast that I did. So if you think they're going to use more between January and June, you can change it. But that is a forecast of what they've used and then tied out to the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay, recycling. There's no hazardous waste pickup. Are we not collecting any of the oils or anything like that?
They do.
They do, and that's down here. What would hazardous waste pickup be?
Paints?
Electronics.
Yeah, electronics, fluorescent light bulbs, stuff like that.
Okay. we should sit there and see, but I mean, there's no change to that budget. The resident state trooper, we did get an analysis from the state, and this was going to be the expected cost for next year. So they actually gave us their numbers in advance. I think enough towns complained that they weren't getting them. So, the fire department is looking for, on this one, there's nothing we can really do other than eliminate the entire state trooper line, which I don't think any of us have any appetite to undertake. So,
They voted it down.
fire commission is increasing by 2,500. Wally is to present his budget, did Wally present his budget? He did. I missed that.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. Sorry. The fire marshal, saw him a couple weeks ago. He's nothing got increased there. There are some of these line items that we might want to ask ourselves: do we need $1,000 in equipment for the fire marshal? These are some of the items that we should sit there and look at with the Board of Finance. So I'll actually sit there and ask the fire marshal what his needs are in that area. Civil preparedness, no change to that one. Anybody?
Looks like it's an over amount.
Excuse me?
Actual amount spent, 24-25 is $429. But this year we spent
that was the
mostly.
prior. That was the prior.
Yeah,
year.
I see. Yeah, this year we have spent that. Okay.
So we spent that, but we budgeted that, so we're under budget by $2,500, or that kind of
part of it's the vehicle. Yeah.
Aren't we supposed to pay this to the shared vehicle, which used to be our ambulance?
Hebron.
Yeah.
Right.
In Marlboro.
Well, just Hebron. But maybe they haven't had to do anything to maintain the vehicle and they're not charging us. So, okay. This one is definitely not right. This one, do you have the document that they gave us, Lisa, related to the increase?
Do I have that with me? It is, you are right. It's 19,000. Let me just see if I have the documents. Let's see. Should be. $19,602.09.
602.
09. Yeah, 602. Let's see.
I would just, unless you guys want to make it exactly the right number. If you want me to, I will. 16,600.
602. Oh, 602.
We put $148 extra, but doesn't matter.
I'll make a motion that we increase line item 151105, animal controlled shared services, to $19,610.
602.
I know, but I'm making it 16.
Okay. All right.
Second.
All right. So Carol Lee seconded it. Further discussion. Ann Cremay, how do you vote? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Carol Lee?
Yes.
Jeff Murray?
Yes.
Scott Persone?
Yes.
Jeff McGuire, yes. That passes 5-0 to increase that line item based upon the shared services agreement we received. Okay. The senior citizens under the public welfare section, the resident services coordinator stipend remains at 6,111.
I think we usually give that a raise, though. We have in the past. We've always given that the same raise.
How
So
about we keep it the same?
You don't want to give that one a 3% too?
No, I think there's other things that we need to do with that position to make it, I don't think we need to give an increase in the resident service coordinator stipend. I think we need to sit there and get a contract reworked. So I don't think this number is that necessarily that important. Unless you want to, which I understand why.
I mean, I'm just saying it would only be fair to do the same 3% that we've traditionally done. Because
Give me 1 second. I'll make a motion that we increase the senior citizens resident service coordinator account 145-100 to $6,295.
second,
Seconded by Carol Lee. Further discussion, hearing none. Ann Cremay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carol Lee,
yes.
Jeff Murray,
Aye.
Scott Person,
Okay.
and Jeff McGuire. Aye. So carries 5-0. So 6-2-9-5.
Change. Yeah. Okay. 3 point. Yeah.
And it's pennies. It's actually 6,294.33, but I rounded. Training, we haven't spent it. We need to sit there and so now, Carol, this budget is also controlled by the senior center, correct? So all of these are controlled by the senior center director, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So,
Question, why is the senior lunch line so large when they have not used that kind of an amount in the past?
well, I know we were over budget, so
We increased it a lot.
Yeah, but why? They're not using it. Not that much.
Previously,
If they've used it more.
It looks like
So
so
that's
far they used
extended.
4,500.
But that's only through the end of January, Ann.
Right, they've used up, now it's up to
7 months.
It's still up to it's up to 5,467 so far this year.
I still think they could do maybe 10,000 instead of 1,250.
previously we have increased it. I don't think that those other numbers are anywhere near accurate.
Which number?
Program.
The actuals.
They actually are because we used to just get $1,000, then it bumped up to $5,024, and that is why the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen established the senior lunch liability account, because we would have to fundraise in order to fund the lunches. So we would have tag sales, we'd have sales with the vendor sales where they rented spaces, and we did basket raffles. We used to have to fundraise for the money. So finally in 25-26, Eric bumped it up to the 12,500.
We did.
and to be really honest, I think you should use it on the seniors.
Yeah.
So if our coordinator or director isn't using it, we need to make sure that they use it and make sure that maybe housebound seniors get their lunch. So
That's a good idea.
I don't think we cut that. I think we make better use of those funds.
Never cut it. No.
Because even if you did 12,000, that's $1,000 a month. And so that would be $250 each week towards the lunches. And they do that every Wednesday. Every other Wednesday, they do the regular lunch, and every other, they have like a bingo or something special for the seniors where they just get the cold sandwiches and maybe a salad, fruit salad.
Yeah.
So
Don't they still pay something for that, don't they? They're not
right. So what they
free.
do is they pay $5 towards the lunches, and then that money gets deposited into the senior lunch liability account. So, and I think that, Lisa, do we have balances of that? The liability account, I thought it was 7,000 or 8,000 right now.
No, I haven't been able to get into those. I haven't had time to get into that.
Okay.
The L accounts, as they're called.
Yes, the L accounts.
Yep.
I mean, I like seeing things available to the seniors, but I just think that the that and the programs line 16,000 this time. What is all of that for then?
I know that the program lines, they're introducing a lot of extra programs, and they do charge for those programs, and then the money does go into the liability account, not the general fund. So you might be able to look at that, once we can get the balance from Lisa.
Yeah, that's something that just seems like it's a bit of a jump.
There was
and there's,
I don't know if Tess is still on, but she did do a huge saying what all the programs were for the community center. And I think the senior ones were in there also, but I think a lot of the programs she wants to add were in there.
Yeah, I know, I saw that.
Yep.
Hey, Tess, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Would you address that 16,000?
Yeah, I did send out in the packet for the budget. I broke down each month and I sort of estimated about what new programs we could have. There is an adjustment with the art. Art is actually doing very well. The community art, not so much. The kids art, the senior arts is actually increasing. We were thinking about having an open art night. That wouldn't cost anything, but the community art we can remove. It can go down a little bit, but definitely once the stove gets installed and the hood gets installed, then I was anticipating more activities with the stove. So, more programs, and considering the stove would be an increase in that. Again, it's all in the packet information that I sent over with my budget.
That I haven't seen. I saw today's report for February.
Yeah, that was done back in December, I believe.
It did. Yeah, it went out to the Board of Finance.
It did come to us.
I believe it. I can send it again. I'm more than happy to do that tomorrow morning.
I didn't remember seeing it. Maybe did.
If you could send it to us tomorrow, Tess, that would be great. And then we'll sit there and highlight these for the Board of Finance to sit there and dig a little bit deeper with you.
Yep, sure can.
Okay. So this is our current budget. So there's only a 3% increase in the drivers and the dispatch salaries. So drivers test, right? So there's really only the 3% increase on the compensation. Eastern Highlands Health District gave us a slight increase Is that what they gave us, or is that just an increase based upon our?
No, they gave us that.
Gave us that. Okay.
Yep.
Mental health, social services, AHM. So AHM provided us an analysis based upon student population. I mean, AHM is a good organization. We probably should use them for more of their services, but we should sit there and see what's up. Library. Can you tell me what that means over here, Lisa?
Yeah, that goes back into, again, the Friends. So they want their budget to be 118,096. So they want to take the 121,897 and minus the funds from the Friends that they're counting on and make their budget just 118,096. I didn't know what the Board of Finance wants to do about that. It goes back to the, like what Carol was talking about, how listing money's revenues outside of what the budget is.
Well, if the library wants it to be 118,096, let's make it 118,096.
So do you want to take it out of operating then? Because it didn't clarify that in the request.
Yeah. So, 1 second. I'll find out what the number is, right?
Yep.
Can you tell me what is supported by the Friends at 3,800? One of these salaries?
No, that's what I'm saying. They didn't direct that. They just want that taken off the top.
As of the library.
Okay.
So we're going to take it out of operating instead of salaries.
That was good.
But so you're taking it out of operating, but that wouldn't give us a true picture, because over there it says somebody's getting a $2 an hour raise. So do we know how much per hour that person is making? And if it's $2 an hour, depending on what the hourly rate is.
Well, Carol, if we made it exactly 118,096 and they were working to keep themselves in that budget, it would either be an overage in payroll and an underage in operations, or vice versa.
Right.
But next year's budget, if it's not supported by the Friends and this person is making the extra $2 per hour, then our budget would have to support that, right? Because that person's already been increased that hourly rate. So I think it needs to be spelled out a little bit more clearly.
Okay.
Exactly what that 3,800 is supporting. Is it supporting, obviously not the directors, and the director I'm assuming is the librarian?
Correct.
And then the child programming, $2 an hour. So what is it supporting? What are they funding?
I wasn't giving any direction. I mean, maybe Kathy has that direction, but
I just think we should get clarification on that.
I understand what you're asking for. I mean, the difference they're asking for is $3,800 lower. So I have no problem leaving it. I mean, I wouldn't leave it that number, honestly, and pass it to the Board of Finance. I would reduce the library operations by that number. And so I'm going to make a motion, Carol, just for sake of getting to their number. And then what we should do is reach out to the library to sit there and say, prepare to provide the Board of Finance with the appropriate information on what they're doing. I mean, because why would we put a budget of 121,897 if they're only asking for 118,096?
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying supporting something. Well, anyway, you know what I'm asking.
Yeah,
anyway.
you're trying to sit there and say for next year, you don't want to sit there and see them come up with another $3,800 because they're already paying this person $2 an hour extra.
Correct.
Yeah. So you're looking not at this year's budget, but the following year's budget, which you
Correct.
should do, which all of our organizations should do. It's the same thing that happens in different, branches of our town government when they get a grant and they're paying an employee a lot of money and then they lose the grant and then they ask the town to fund the extra expenses. So
Correct, because that's deceiving and, somebody's not going to work for less next year. So.
correct. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to lower the library operations line account 001-800 to 29,273.
Second that, Jeff.
Okay, and so let me put that in just so we make sure that the number is right. 1 second. 29,273. 118,096. Yep. So Scott Person seconded. Any further discussion? All right. Ann, how do you vote? Is that an aye? Yes. Maybe. Did I lose Ann? Because I can't see her.
I can't
Not
see
there.
her.
She abstained.
She abstained? Okay, that's fine.
Did she really abstain or we just can't hear her?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I stepped away for a minute. What was the question?
We're voting to lower, we're
Library?
voting to lower the library operations line 001-800 to
Yeah,
20.
I'll say yes.
Okay. Carolee?
I'll say aye as long as the Board of Finance is going to review that.
Okay.
Mm.
Jeff Murray?
Aye.
Scott Person? Aye. Jeff McGuire, aye. And Scott, I'm assuming it's 5-0. Okay. Recreation Commission registration for what is WICSC? Is that a software?
So
Carol?
yes, what we did was we agreed with the community center that we would pay half of the annual maintenance each year for that software because we're going to use it for the basketball registration.
Okay.
Since we're on the subject of registrations for things, I know this is going to be a sore spot for somebody, but are we going to start registering for all these other sports in the gym at Andover Elementary, i.e. pickleball?
So are you asking for a liability form? Or are we filling
No, it's just, it's like a season pass for residents and then pay one amount and then out-of-state residents pay another amount. I mean, out-of-town residents, I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean,
Charge.
everybody else pays to use that for activities. And I mean, we charge for activities in the community center.
Well,
I'm sorry, they're using electricity or using heat. And it's getting up to like 2 or 3 days a week now. So
is it that often?
yes.
Okay. Actually, I'm glad. But I would sit there and just ask the question, like when basketball charges a fee, what basketball is charging the fee for is to cover uniforms and to sit there and cover referee costs. So they're not paying to the community.
But Jeff, every other municipality and entity is charging, and we are one of the only towns that is not.
Well, then that's a different issue if we sit there and want to do that. But I know that we've always had kind of an unwritten rule that the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen wasn't going to charge for, community members doing things like that. So
Yeah, but how many people do we have from the community, and how many people we got coming from out of town?
Now we put we sign up all the community members first, which usually takes up the whole space. And then if any community members get out, then out of town people can come. But lately it's been all community members that have been playing.
I mean, I was looking at other towns and they just do a season pass and they charge residents one fee and out of towners another fee.
Do you know roughly how many people show up, Scott? I know, I think Dave and Lisa are the ones kind of overseeing everything, but do you know how many people show up? I think you guys have a pretty good turnout, don't you?
But like I said, we set up the schedule with Andover people first.
No, but how many, Scott? Like when you have
Per night.
a full, you have everybody on all the courts. How many people is it? Did I lose you?
I'm looking up my data.
Well, how many courts do you set up? 3?
Last, there was 20 people.
And that's all in-town residents? It's good. So then the outdoor courts, when they're ready, should be used, which is a whole other thing, which we do have to
Hopefully,
get. How to register, how to assign usage on those. But I will go to one thing, Scott, that I do think that, I don't think it would be totally negative to ask for a small fee to offset the cost of the scheduling and maintenance and those kind of things. I don't think it's a horrible thing to ask. I just think we have to have more time to think about how to do it properly.
Well, I just think like a season pass so we can give them and I saw some towns give like a yellow armband, like those Livestrong bracelets. You just put it on when you go to play, so you know that you were already paid for that year, and you just change the color every year when you renew.
Where would you suggest that they go?
You got to get closer.
Would they go to the school, like the student activity fund?
No, just get paid at the community center, and they would get a wristband for that season. And it would be like a yellow. We just change the color every year. They get like an orange one the next color, a blue one that color next year after, and that way you could just walk through the gym and you can see make sure everybody's got their passes just by looking at their arms. You have to wear the armband when you play.
So then that money would go into the general fund. Is that what you're saying?
Well, this was another question I had. I don't see anything. All the income coming from all these programs that we're going to be doing. We should probably establish a line item for this revenue that we're going to be receiving.
The revenue does go into the senior. It used to be the senior lunch program, but it's been explained to me now that it's senior lunch, so they put the revenue from senior lunch in one section.
I'm not talking senior lunch
programs.
I'm just talking like yoga, like all these other things that we're charging.
Jeff, this is something that Lisa and I have looked at. We need to do a much better job of identifying where revenues are being generated and listing them properly within the system. Because we talk about these L accounts and different things, and it's really hard to see those in our normal financial statements. So it is something that we do need to do a better job of listing revenues. And I think there should be, a fee section, and then you talk about the different fees that are collected, let's say under recreation. So we did this under the rec department. These are the fees that we've received. So you receive basketball, and basketball offsets itself. And that's something that we need to do so that we account for these things in an appropriate manner. So I have no problem with what you're asking about putting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking for I'm not saying it'd be an extravagant amount of money, but it's just something to line us with other towns. And like most of the people that are residents here, they don't have to travel far to play. So it's not like asking for a big commitment here financially. So,
well, I do think that it's something that we definitely should do. and think about.
So are we going to do the same thing? I mean, I know this is early, but down at the fields too, to regulate the use? And is the senior center going to handle all that, signing out those fields? Yep, Tess has her hand up. So maybe she may not want to do that.
We need to listen. This is very early as to what we want to think about doing, but it's something that I know that we need to sit there and get a better handle on, because even I believe there was a request from Ram Soccer to use the field for little kids.
Yes.
And we need to address that as to how the fields and everything get utilized. So the fields, like the fields in the pickleball courts, the outdoor pickleball courts, will have to have some kind of sign-up procedure.
Well, that's where I get to with the armbands. I think that would include indoor and outdoor, so you would have access to the outdoor ones as well. You know, and you would get. I would assume though that court would be locked, and you would have to get a combination to get in there.
And this is just something, and we don't have to go. We shouldn't really do this tonight. But Scott, since you do go to a lot of these other towns, you're going to have to tell us how they do it and how it's coordinated. I'm assuming that you're paying to join the league, and they're running the league, or you're not paying.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to get into this tonight?
No, let's not do it now. Jeff, I understand what you're saying, and we should talk about it and get to it, but let's do that at maybe our next meeting when we get this budget to.
Understood.
The thing I want to tell you is there's not a lock on any place to play pickleball anywhere I've ever been to.
Oh,
and I've been to 25 of them.
But that's outside, right? Because I know, and I just want to get back on, like, if we're going to start charging fees, like the basketball, like you said, Jeff, we use it to run.
All the outside ones there's no fees to anyone, and they're open.
Right. But the inside ones, and if we're going to do that, like Ram High School and Middle School, they have set fees, and it's the school that sets up the schedule for use of the gym and the school that sets up the fees. So if it's an inside,
you have to go this way. That's a different thing, because the RAM number is because they assign a janitor to it. It's a whole, Carol, when I was up there trying to do basketball and do things with them, it has a lot to do with their assignment of the janitor to the gym. So, and that's all well and good. We have to be very cautious as to what we try to say we're going to do related to the gymnasium and fees, because, Carol, basketball doesn't pay any fees, and honestly, it shouldn't, because we'd outcharge the amount of money to sit there and have the league. So, this issue has to be dealt with thought and understanding of who we're trying to help get to where. And to be really honest, if you have 20 residents that are getting together and playing pickleball, I think that's awesome, because I don't think there's a lot of other than, the church and the library, there's not a lot of places where older Andover residents get together and do something active. So I just tell you, we got to think about it, and this is not the time. It's almost 11 o'clock, and we need to.
I just wanted to mention it. That's all.
Yep, no problem. I totally get it. All right. So the Rec Commission is asking for $1,400 additional for programs for the software to register.
No, there's an additional concert in there too, of $500.
Yes.
That's fine. So $900 for the software and $500 for the concert. I just got to ask, why are we giving any more money to the community garden?
I don't do the community garden. That's Jeff.
Mm-hmm. My question on the community garden, just like I would sit there and tell you, And this would go right to you, Jeff, like from a standpoint of charging, that we get 20 residents to come and play pickleball on a Sunday. How many people use the community garden?
There's 7 gardens, isn't there?
I think there's 10 actually,
Okay.
because there's 2 beds in each of those squares.
I think it's beautiful and it seems like they do a nice job, but I would really like to sit there and see there be a significant amount of people to participate in the community garden to justify getting $3,800 of town tax money.
I think there was 6 people, Carol, at one point that were involved with it. There could have, and some of them had a couple.
Right.
Well,
You're
I
right.
remember that,
There's the 10. The beds are cut in half, so there are 10.
So I would sit there and just say that I don't mind sitting there. It's only $3,700. I don't mind sitting there committing to it this year, but I do think that Jeff and the community garden group needs to sit there and give us a bigger understanding of the benefit that it's given to a larger number of residents within the town.
I think a whole lot of the food that comes out of there goes to the church.
And quantify it and make us happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know they put up the fence a year or 2 ago, and that I'm sure was part of the expense, but I don't know what this expense is, what all this money is going towards.
I know Jeff's worked hard on it and it looks great. I just don't know if it's benefiting enough residents.
Yeah.
Whereas I sit there and I look at something like pickleball, and then you can get 20 and average age, Scott, 50 on your pickleball.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
That is awesome because you don't really have a lot of opportunities like that. I mean, once our kids age out of school and athletics and you don't really have a lot of opportunity. And I know, Carol, at one point in time, adult basketball used to be a bigger thing, but I think that's awesome. I think we should try to promote it and those types of things a lot.
Right.
Yes,
I think I'm probably close to one of the oldest.
Yes, but with that said, we have all kinds of programs at the community center that we charge fees for. So,
yep.
And you're talking about kids basketball versus adults playing.
No, I'm talking about the fees charged for the kids, what they go to.
Yep.
Right.
Seniors are going to be using the community garden this year too.
The seniors are good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's just something we should look at. The Memorial Day parade. Do we need to sit there and make any adjustments on that? Okay. On the Selectmen line, is there any adjustments that need to be made on the Selectmen line? Oh, okay, I get that one.
Veterans Committee. I'm just curious, what's the Veterans Committee on that line there?
Isn't that what Susan sits there and deals with?
Okay.
It used to be the Veterans Day when we had the Veterans Day celebration, but then the Recreation Commission took that over and left that line for Susan to use for her veterans meetings and that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the Board of
I think
Finance.
I think that veterans is misspelled.
Yeah, I saw that too. This is brought out of QuickBooks, so it was like that before I got here, but I already noted spell.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like misspellings. All right. Is there anything that anyone sees on any of these? The Board of Finance has a clerk fee increase 3%. That's nothing. The Conservation Committee, Board of Assessment Appeals. Oh, let's talk about the Board of Assessment Appeals. This is actually something that we probably don't. We need to sit there and talk to the assessor's office because they have this lookup that they're asking for and it's just not being made available to them. So does anyone know about that, or has that had any So our card taxes are supposed to be based off a very finite list as to what's up. And I know the assessor's office has access to this lookup, and I'm not sure that they're providing the lookup to the Board of Assessment Appeals. So we need to sit there. I need to sit there and ask John that question if it could be made available to them. And that committee is just looking at sitting there doing that, doing additional training. Now, there was going to be a change to the law that got vetoed. So I guess our assessor was pushing for a state Board of Assessment Appeals, and it actually got pretty far within the legislature and then got vetoed. So,
I just think it's only $380, and just in case the BAA would have access to look that information up.
yeah.
So,
Well, I have no idea. I have no problem leaving it. I guess we need to determine what type of line there is. My only problem is I think we're paying for it twice. So we'll sit there and look at it, and I'll sit there and deal with the assessor and ask him if it can be made available, and let's hear what he has to say to us.
okay.
All right, so economic development is looking for $1,000 extra, or no, coming down. So that's the sign coming down, Carol.
Yes, the sign.
All right, good. Planning and zoning, 3%, $60 increase on salaries. 12 meetings per year for inland wetland. So this is the board clerk increase. Okay. All right, let's get to this section here. This is the biggest section of the town budget for us. Revaluation is a consistent amount that we've put money away. We probably have the majority of the revaluation paid for by the time the revaluation comes around to hit us. Contingency, we've always left it $50,000.
Can we get balances on these though? I mean, we seem to fund these 50,000 every year. The multi-use building fund has over 400,000 in it, and we're going to put another 50 in. So that multi-use building fund started before we got the COVID money to build our senior center. So we just keep adding to that.
Yeah, no problem. Lisa, on the right side in the memo, when you're doing this, and even doing this for the Board of Finance, if we can't put in the memo the current balance, because that revaluation one, that is a separate account.
Okay.
That just got reconciled.
I spent several hours on this morning, and I pretty much went in circles because of the way QuickBooks is set up. So I'm trying, but
we'll figure that out. But some of these are actually like open space fund. There's an open space bank account.
There is.
Why don't you keep a balance along in that line?
We will. What she's saying is she's just got to get to it.
I have to get the history. I've got this for last year and for this year, but there is I cannot find the history of what's in that. We have the bank account for, it seems like, a year at a time.
You know, I can tell you in my head, the QuickBooks 21 accounts are going to have these things. And these should tie into the audit. Like I can tell you, like
I was in there today. I was in 21 and 23, and I can't get it to the cash. Yes, they're balanced. The cash accounts are balanced. I'm trying to find a history, and I cannot find a history. So that's what I'm working on.
Okay. I mean, we definitely need the road and I mean, I can sit there and tell you that the public works money, the 125, is basically the payment for the truck that is still out there. And I think this is the last year on that truck. So we're going to have to sit there and talk about what we do in the future for the next truck if it needs to be replaced or how far we can go outside of it. And the fire engine tanker, that one's low to me. I got to look at that one because I thought the fire engine tanker payment was somewhere in the range of $250,000. So Carol and everybody, I sit there and go, the revaluation one is just like a consistent amount of money that, we have put more in previously. So once we have the balance, we should sit there and get what our previous revaluation cost was to get the outside company to come in and do that work. Contingency was at $50,000. We haven't, I don't even think we spent the $2,000.
I mean, we really don't use a lot out of contingency, and we don't know even what the balance is. 24, 25.
There is no balance in contingency. Contingency is a one and done transaction. The revaluation is a capital fund that carries over. The multi-use building, that one's a question.
I have the money in a contingency fund then. Why put that in?
There is no contingency fund that carries over.
There isn't?
No. Contingency is once a year. We keep it there, and then whatever's left, Carol, ends up in the general fund, going back to the general fund.
Okay. But the multi-use building fund does not.
No, there are a bunch of these, like the open space funds, the building maintenance fund, the bridge and culvert fund, the tree removal fund. I have to look at the audit on that one.
Yeah.
I think we put tree removal there, but we usually go through it. Road improvement. Certain of these, Carol, you're right. They're capital related, but they're not going into funds that are carried over from year to year.
So they're not a capital reserve.
Yes.
It's just capital related.
Capital related, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
we cut back on things like the multi-use building fund and the bridge and culvert fund because we got so much money in those already.
Yeah, and you're going to spend it all. The bridge and culvert fund, we're not even going to have enough money there.
But you've got over $700,000 in that fund. So why put another 175 in now when we got the bridges paid for? And you just
you're incorrect. The bridges across the Hop River have been paid for with grants. The culvert at Brazula Road, which that money is sent there for, has been allocated there for, is going to cost us $1 million.
$1 million. Brazula Road.
And that's one of 9 culverts. We're not even
just one
near enough in that fund, but that's okay.
No. So the bridge and culvert fund for those kind of repairs, Brazula and Lake, those are not, we don't receive any state or federal grant money.
Yeah, we're still going to get, we're going to get 50%, I think, from them.
We'll get 50% back. But Bunker Hill, was that funded at 100%?
Fully, both of them fully funded.
Okay. So let me ask you, we had several $100,000 in the Bunker Hill. Did that money, because I don't see that here, like the Bunker Hill. So when the money goes out of that account, are we putting the reimbursement into the general fund? How are we showing that? Why wouldn't we just keep putting it back into a bridge fund? Why would we have to name it Bunker Hill? Why couldn't we just call it bridge fund? And any bridge we're replacing, the money is in there.
Well, when the expenses come in from the contractor. So in that case, what was it, Scott? NJR?
Yes.
Okay.
NJR and SLR.
Yeah. And they would come and they would sit there and say, hey, you need to pay us for, $158,000 for this portion of the bridge construction. We would then pay that out of our general fund. and we have a grant. We should have a grant line for it. And then when the money came in, we would, collect the money into that and put it back into the general fund. So it's just a wash of the transactions. In the case of the culvert, we're going to have to pay half the money. So the state says they're going to pay half the money, and we're going to have to pay half the money. And the current cost, and we should have a meeting with that engineering firm again. The last time that Eric reported to us, it was going to be $1.9 million, and we were going to be on the hook for 50% of it.
But last year, the reason I'm questioning is last year we had a specific line that said Bunker Hill Bridge.
We had a specific line for Bunker Hill Bridge because there was concern about we had to front the money.
Right. We had to pay first, and then the federal government or the state reimbursed us. But the money did not go back on that Bunker Hill Bridge line.
So you're asking about last year, the transaction and how it occurred.
Well, didn't we just finish the bridge the end of last year? So we're still in that same current fiscal year. And I'm questioning why we don't have that on here. So even though it was finished last year in November, December, I don't know, Scott, I still have the picture you sent me, so I can tell you exactly when it was finished. And
well, we're going to have to
look in November.
It was November. So it's in this fiscal year that we're currently in, but yet we don't see a Bunker Hill Bridge line there anymore.
If that Bunker Hill Bridge was in there for last year, then I understand what you're asking. You're asking, why did we get taxed for it if we got reimbursed for it?
Correct. So, and why wouldn't we? I understand that we have to tax our residents to put the initial money that we need to pay the contractors for that. However, if we just labeled it bridge, now, instead of creating a Long Hill Road Bridge Fund, which I don't know if we're doing that, or are you just thinking there's enough in bridge and culvert, or we're just going to take the money for Long Hill Bridge out of the general fund and not have it identified on the budget? That's my question.
Well, I have to look at what happened last year, because if that happened last year, I think we didn't do that correctly, to be really honest. I have to look at it, Carol, because if what you're trying to say is that we tax the residents on Long Hill Bridge or
Bunker Hill Bridge.
Yeah. I got to find out where that went. The treasurer should have taken care of it.
Okay, because like I say, that line is missing. And I remember asking you about it last year. Well, before the bridge was finished. And like I say, it's the current fiscal year that we're in. So I'm just surprised that I'm not seeing it on this.
Well, you should see it on last year's line.
Is that
right?
Oh, it's now just called Bridge and Culvert?
Because Bridge and Culvert was always there, Ann.
It was?
So
Okay.
It was not Bridge and Culvert, and it was
a different one.
Yes, it was definitely a different line.
Okay.
And judging by the numbers here, there is a gap, 915. So 916 is missing. 918 and 919 are missing because we have 305, and then they start at 899. And then there's gaps in the numbers. So it's missing. I thought it was somewhere around the Bridge and Culvert Fund. So it could have been 913.
It was 913. And I just looked back into 24, 25, and I don't see anything in that year either. So this is why I'm saying I was in there today and I'm looking for this stuff. I'm trying to make sense out of this. So it's not on this year's budget because there's nothing in here, but I don't know. It's got to be somewhere, but it doesn't look like it's in the budget to actual. Maybe it's in classes or somewhere else, but I'm trying to pull it. I mean, Jeff knows I'm trying to make sense out of it. So,
I mean, I can look back at a couple of the other spreadsheets that I have, because it did show that our residents were taxed 2 years in a row on that money, to have enough in there to fund what we would be billed for.
What we have to do is find out what they were attempting to accomplish, whether it's in the bridge and culvert fund.
No, it's not.
No. If it's in their balance right now, Carol, because maybe it just got added. We have to understand what the treasurer and the finance department did with that money. And the only way to do it is to sit there and allow the current treasurer to sit there and go through that. Like, I'm just having a problem if that line isn't showing here for the prior year numbers. But again, that doesn't surprise me because there was no money spent out of it. It's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
So, is there anything that anyone wants to do with any of these capital funds that's above and beyond what's listed here currently?
The only question that I have is, Lisa, and I know you have a lot on your plate, but those gap in the numbers, you've already cleared up that 913 was Bunker Hill Bridge.
Yep.
Did you figure out for us what 916, 918, and 919 were?
9-7. There's a lot of empties in there. You're right. There's several in QuickBooks. They're not in this sheet that the book that I made because there's zero balances.
Are they active accounts?
I could look at the chart of accounts and see if that's there.
See if they're inactive.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Let me make.
Yeah. Before Eric left, the thorn that we have still is finding the extra money in our budget to finish the transportation garage. And I'm pretty sure that Eric said that something happened because I think it's because it's going to be union that we're going to need another $80,000 to finalize that. And I would really like to prioritize that and get our cars and trucks under cover.
I thought the 80,000 was to put a second story on that garage.
Well, it was just to change it so that it can be open from the back and to have more room upstairs. It's not a big deal. It's just changing the trusses. I don't know why this is taking so long.
The meeting that
to
Jeff
get this
Murray
done.
and I had with that group was that the original structure was really, the roof was at ground level on the back side of that building. So there were a lot of things that we had to address, and we probably will need to find some additional funding for that.
Can this funding be taken out of the multi-use building fund then? I just don't want this to turn into another year without a building for our vehicles. We got to, if there's that much money, Carol's saying there's $400,000 in that thing.
There is.
We should put that money, we should invest that money in getting that building done.
There should be around 425,000 in there.
Yeah, so there's no reason why that building shouldn't be done.
Well, we have to sit there and see where it's located currently. I mean, it's obviously the cash is in our general fund. The question is, what are all of these funds and how do they add up as to what is the balance in the bridge and culvert fund? What is the balance in the multi-use building? I mean, we know what the numbers were for last year. We just need to know if there was additions that came through for this year. So
Murray brought this up, last time this was brought up, that he also wanted to prioritize this. I think all of us are probably feeling the same way, but this needs to be moved ahead.
Well, that's the first thing that we'll give to the project committee.
The big thing is that in the last 2 years, we've gotten a lot more revenue than what was planned. 2 years ago, we got over $2 million more collected in taxes than what was expected. And this past year was almost $1 million over. Where'd all that money go to? We ought to be able to cut down on some of these capital funds
And what do you
this
want to do
budget.
with the money, Ann?
I just think that you
Do
should.
you want to spend it on
less-
education? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Just
Well,
say it out loud.
yes, they need
Okay, that's
the
what you
money
want.
this year, and
Yep.
you've got a lot of extra money that you could cut back a little bit of what you put into your capital funds, and it would cover what the school board
It's
budget
their
needs.
turn, right? Isn't that what they say? It's our
Yes.
turn. It's our turn to get the
Yes.
money. No, it's our money. It's all of our money. We're one big organization.
I know, yes,
It's
but
not,
the
it's not their
town,
money.
the town got the new senior center and got it equipped. And now we're working on other things like the pickleball courts and getting the
God,
building
Ann,
for the buses.
please, we did not tax the residents to do the majority of these things, Ann.
Fine.
Maybe you've been missing that being on our
No.
board.
Well, I'm just saying that you've got some money, and you did provide a lot of things with the taxes. The Public Works has gotten a number of pieces of equipment, new trucks, new mowers.
What are you
The fire
saying?
department
What are
has
you
gotten
saying?
things.
What are you
So
trying
now
to say?
it's
What are
time
you,
to get the
what are you
school-
trying to say, Ann? That we shouldn't sit there and prioritize the improvement of our equipment fleet? Are you saying we shouldn't try to
No,
sit there and
I'm
do
not
these things?
saying that.
Do you think we're overspending, Ann?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you need to now provide for the school needs some money this year. They have not
Maybe
asked
the
for big
school could
increases.
provide us information so that we could make an appropriate
Have
decision.
been.
They haven't provided anything. I get no information that I ask for timely with courtesy and professionalism. It doesnn't happen, Ann.
It does.
How many out of town students are we
Now,
paying for from our tax dollars? What are we
You're not-
funding for those people?
Can we just get back on this budget, please?
Yes.
The building, so with the plate, oh my gosh, my head just went blank. But the parking garage, please, can we get back on that? Because I have a
Yes.
question about that grant. And is there an expiration date on that grant? Do we have to have that project finalized? Because we did have grant money. I thought it was 200 and some odd thousand towards that.
We have $250,000 in grant funding to pay for that.
And how much more do we need?
Oh, we probably need the $80,000 if it was,
Okay.
but this is why, Carol, we need to go to the project committee to get a good understanding of the best way to do that building, because that was the building that Eric had gone to the IQCS, and I don't know the acronym correctly.
ICQC.
Yeah, whatever it is. And they
Easy IQC.
Yeah, Easy IQC, and they did it through the standard rates, and so it might be easier, Carol, for us to sit there and do a project. So
Can we just move forward with that? We've got plenty in the multi-use building fund, right?
yeah, we can try to do it. Again, you're 100% correct. We need the balances over on the right.
And if we have that, and then we can move forward, we can get that garage finished. We can finish the basement of the senior center.
Building is
We can get a CO on that.
very simple. That building is so simple.
So can we just move forward on these projects?
Does anyone want to make any adjustments to the capital funding that is going to be presented to the Board of Finance? That's all the question is.
So question, we have the, let's see. No, that's the road improvement fund. Let's see. Tree removal fund. Do we have a balance of that? And is that's an L account, right, Lisa, that it stays, it doesn't roll into the general fund, or is that one?
I'm still trying to figure it out, Carol. I have never seen capital done like this in my life.
I think the tree removal fund, honestly,
That would be
don't you spend it? Don't you spend it every year?
I can't see where it's applied to capital to bring down the capital when it's spent. That's what the process I'm trying to find. is when that $10,000 is spent to bring down a tree on a $20,000 capital item, there's now $10,000 left.
Okay, Eric.
Trying to find that.
Because
Scott,
Why is the building
who did Eric use on the trees?
distinctive most of the time, but now there's somebody
Yes.
else. Now
Okay.
there's somebody else. J and J.
Lisa, can you look at distinctive trees and trace a couple of their transactions to sit there and see where they end up?
Yeah, and I think they just go to due from.
Oh God! So that means they're in due from under a class.
I think so, yes. And that's what I was looking at today was the due from.
Okay.
Why is the building maintenance fund reduced to $33,000, a third?
You need to, Lisa, you need to take that account and do
Dissect it. That's what I was.
you need to do a report, and then you need to sort it by class.
Yeah, and I did. I did to this year and last year. I did it today, and it's still not. I still can't get it to tie out.
Okay.
I'm working on it, but it just doesn't look like the figures that we're looking for. So I did print both those class reports today for this year and last year. Let me just go back into.
Okay, well, we'll sit there and get that situated so the Board of Finance can have any information. Again, are we sitting there looking at these budgeted numbers, the requests, and looking to increase or decrease any of these requests? You got anybody
What's the
got
building?
motions? Let's go.
The building maintenance fund, why was it reduced by 2/3?
And that would have been done by the Board of Finance when they were trying to figure out how to get the budget passed.
Last year.
Yeah. Last year.
Yep. I mean, I don't know that. I'm just saying, yeah, that's the figure that carried over from last year. So,
but the expenditures through the end of January was 33,000, according to this.
No, the way that she does this is why contingency is the only one of those, Carol, that doesn't move 100%. Because what the treasurer is doing is going, okay, you've identified these capital funds and they're all going into the funds. So everything that got moved 100%, Carol,
Okay.
is in a fund. And contingency is not. So you can sit there and see how contingency has $2,000 left on it or only
Right.
spent on it, right? So that would go back into the general fund. All of the rest of it went to the due funds and is sitting in a fund balance somewhere. It is either sitting in its own bank account, and I don't have that information in front of me, but there are multiple different, there are bank accounts for a bunch of these, and we just need to get you the bank balances there. But what Lisa is trying to do is Lisa's trying to tie them to the financial statements.
right. I went into distinctive tree care, and there's an entry for August for $29,750. $9,750 is going to due to other funds, and $20,000 is going to transfer station grounds.
Okay, so the transfer station, so that's the $20,000
Must have been the
that
grinding.
for the grinding of the
Skipping, right.
and $9,000 is related to tree service on the roads. And
It
that
does-
not,
yeah,
that
it does.
9,000 is going against the fund balance.
Right.
We need
There's
to
also
find,
other tree services, Jeff, that we use now.
that's fine. It's
I'm just looking to see if there's.
I can just
Yeah, there's
tell you-
another one for 11,573 going to line 25,000 due to other funds.
Yeah, and it's a class transaction and it's in the system. It's just not as easy to identify.
And
It is something that Lisa and I have been communicating about,
Yeah.
that we need to make it easier on her and easier for the Board of Finance and easier for the Board of Selectmen to understand what's there.
more clear.
It's put into a due from, and it's tracked by classes, and it's very difficult to sit there and pull those classes up and see what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
visually there right on the front of your financial statement.
What I used to do is I would do a spreadsheet and I would do it quarterly, and I would have last year's ending balance from the auditors. I would put in this year's budget. I would put another column what's spent this year, and then you'd have a balance every quarter of what was left. And that was the simplest way for everybody to look at it. And the figure I got of what was used would be in QuickBooks. But we had a separate company per se in QuickBooks. And I would balance to that. I would tie it out every quarter. And you would have a very clear picture of what's been used and what your balances are. And I'm trying to do that for you, and I'm trying to pull it from somewhere, and I'm trying to tie it, and I can't get it to tie yet.
We'll get there.
Yep.
What I'm saying, Jeff, is why is it reduced for this year?
I'm telling you, Scott, the Board of Finance reduced that to make their budget.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Eric always put $100,000 in a building maintenance fund.
I understand. And we could sit there and increase that if you want. We can sit there and make that additional recommendation. I don't think that's unreasonable to make that recommendation. I'm just telling you why it happened.
Yeah, I know. It was unreasonable that they reduced it.
Is that a liability, or does that roll into the general fund at the end of the year?
No, that again, you see how it's the full amount already moved?
Okay.
So in column G is the amount of what is called the expense for the year. So the treasurer moved all of that money to the fund. So there's $33,000 in the building maintenance fund from last year's taxation. We need to provide you what the balance is. So again, the only transaction that is not rolled into a fund is contingency. And you can tell because the amount in column G is $2,000, not $50,000.
Okay.
So that's it. That's the issue. So like even open space, Scott, open space went down from 50 to 10.
10, yeah.
Right. But I also can tell you there's, in my head, no, there's only like 275 or 275. And that's not a lot of money to buy a piece of land.
Piece of property, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to up that also to back to 25.
Can I just ask too, Lisa, in the clerk's office, we collect a fee. I call it the PA09 fee, and there's a certain amount of that fee that's supposed to go into the open space fund. Do you have a way to track that? Because we collect money at the counter for every recording, and then I used to report it in an Excel spreadsheet on a monthly basis with a breakdown as to what was the town's amount, the state's amount.
And Carol, that I can answer for Lisa that's not being done.
It's not.
See that entry in there, just to tell you, that $10,000 entry that's in there right now for open space. Okay. Do you know what I have to look at in here? It says $10,000 to record.
Okay, so that was what we were.
No, but what Carol is asking for,
I'm saying this is
all of the revenues every time she sits there and submits something. So Carol, what we have to do is we'll work together with you on previous transactions to determine that there are a multitude of those types of things that we have to get better at, and we have to look.
Yep.
I'm just, in my head, that's not the way that deposits have been allocated have not always been exactly as you or I would want them to always be posted. So I would tell you, Carol, the odds are I will give you an over-under. I say I'll give you 20% that they got done correctly. So I don't think it's very good.
Because this is money that our residents are being taxed on, $10,000 every year, but the other revenues are non-tax revenue. They're fees collected at the clerk's counter.
Mm-hmm. And they should be posted to the open space fund, and the open space fund should be increasing by those fees collected.
Right. And the payment in lieu of open space that we collect on subdivisions, I'm pretty sure that is supposed to go into open space. I'm not positive about that. Mm-hmm. But we used to collect quite a bit when we had all those subdivisions going on.
And every time you bring something up, it's something else for us to look at, to sit there and see if we can do it correctly. Again, what do we want to do with the budget on the capital? Do we want to raise any of those things? Scott, do you want to make a recommendation to raise any of these items? Do we want to sit there and increase what we're doing here and asking for?
To raise the open space fund to 25,000 and put the building maintenance fund back up to where it's supposed to be at 100.
The only thing I question on that building maintenance, do we have anything that we can foresee that we're going to need?
We used to spend that every year. We used to spend that out. Done.
Yeah, but what Carol's asking is a legitimate question. Does anybody,
do we have any? I mean, listen, if there was one building in town that I would sit there with, that we need to sit there and do some TLC to, it's the old town
museum.
Yes.
Yeah.
the old town hall. But
so if we're going to increase that and say that we're going to do that, I think that would be okay. But just to increase it, and not move forward with something, I don't think is right.
Why we need an administrator.
Can we stick on this topic, please?
Yeah, not to interrupt, but I'm going to have to get off here in about another 5 minutes or so.
Okay. So does anybody want to make, if you want to make those recommendations, are we going to make those recommendations and vote on them?
Good time.
I mean, because we can sit there and push this to the Board of Finance because they're going to hammer this anyway. I mean, what we need to do is understand the balances, which Rob has been asking Lisa for. We've got to get him those numbers so he understands what's in each one of these things. And listen, I have no problem if you want to increase something that
Make a
helps
motion
us
to
better.
increase the open space fund to $25,000.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll second it. All right, further discussion? Ann, how do you vote? I got to hear you.
She's
I
muted.
can't see.
Which one was this now? This
Open
was the,
space.
no,
Okay, no. Carol Lee?
Aye.
Jeff Murray?
No.
Scott Person?
It's their turn.
What?
Give them some
Scott.
money.
Liz, please mute yourself for me. Scott, how do you vote?
Hey.
You vote yes? I'll vote yes. So 3-2. Okay. Any others? I honestly sit there, Scott, and say leave the building maintenance fund till we understand the projects.
I agree.
Right. So this one is $25,000. And I'm sure I didn't make all of the transactions up top. So this is actually where the total numbers are currently. Is that accurate, Lisa?
What you have in there, yeah. If you just changed it.
I know there are a couple things in the top I
Yes.
still need to address, but this is it's probably
Mine's off a little bit from yours, but it's small. I've got 904, but we don't need to go through it tonight. It's not much of a difference. I think we can look at it tomorrow.
Okay.
But I highlighted all the changes. As long as I have I think the only thing I'm missing, I wanted to make sure. The mill increase, I think, is possibly part of the difference because you said to change the mill increase. I mean, the current year taxes. So what did you? We can talk about it tomorrow, but I need to know.
You can take the items that we voted on and put them in and resend this because I'm just showing what I have here, and I know I missed a couple things at the beginning. So, is there anything else that any of the board members want to deal with on the budget? All right.
The only
I'm
thing that
gonna
I
go.
did want to ask, and I'm sorry, I was going too slow, but on the school, whatever that capital fund, I know that they were putting 100,000 in every year. Do you think there is enough in there to complete that bathroom project?
Yes.
So we have enough money on that line to pay the whole bill. Yes.
Yes. Don't you remember when we sat there?
I know it was
did
400
budget?
and something, but I also see that 24, 25, we funded it with 100,000. So I'm just asking.
I would envision that we have enough money in the AES capital fund to finish the bathroom.
Okay, because again, I can't see a balance, and
Yeah.
once we can, it'll be more comfortable. So okay.
We will work with the treasurer to get those balances there. All right. So I'm skipping a lot of this, to be really honest. 9B, discussion and possible action on the town administrator position. We have to. I'm going to communicate with everyone regarding the candidate from New York. It's possible. I have to speak with Scott, and Scott has to speak with him. Right. So that was a positive 5-minute conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it is going to come down to it would come down to lodgings and saving the cost of housing. We'll figure that out. Approval of minute meetings. Honestly, I will push this. I would rather push this off to next meeting.
Yes.
I haven't even looked at them. Treasurer's report, I don't even want to look at it. I've looked enough at the budget. The tax collector's report, I don't need to look at. I got to sit there and deal with that. The departmental reports, we're all good. Correspondence, I don't have any. Anybody else have any other problems? Or does anybody want me to go back to any of the issues? Okay, if not, I would like to go into public speak. Valerie Bruno.
I'm all set, Jeff. Just one little technicality on the bottom of the document that you were just showing. It says BOEAES with the 7% instead of RAM. So
Okay.
there's just one little technical.
Well, that was a generic Board of Education. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll fix that. Thank you. Tess Gross. Okay, test is on mute. We'll come back to her. Liz Lokach.
I'm all set. Thanks, guys.
All right, Joanne Hebert.
Real quick, I stayed on to listen because I did want to hear what you were going to say about the town administrator at the end. I'm not even going to go into it, but hoping that you all are coming to an agreement, on that situation soon. I know the process was professional and everybody put time into it. And, I am going to chill my comment because I really don't know what's going on and I don't want to say anything that I don't have any background of, but I know you've had plenty of meetings and good luck with that and everything else.
Okay, thank you. Dennis, if you're still on, you good? Okay, he's good. Tess Grouse, I'm coming back to you. All right, Tess just stayed on to stay on. We're not going to move to executive session. And I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. Lisa, thank you. And Scott,